What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
2WR. Chapter 26 Isn't he just an ordinary sailor? Advertise here. Chapter 26 Isn't he just an ordinary sailor? This, Lin An here. Except for Lin An, all Marines have been brought down by the three of Luffy. Looking at Lin An, who was still standing, there was a look of doubt on Kid's face. Look at his clothes, he's just an ordinary sailor. Why are you still standing now? Did you not attack just now? Luo and Luffy were also surprised by this. You picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. Lin An did not respond to the doubts of the three of Luffy. Pick up the last attribute that fell on the ground. Feeling his strength, he shook his head slightly. This feeling is as if you were playing a game and you were about to upgrade. The experience bar has reached 99%, but there is no upgrade. No. Regarding Kid's doubts, Luo directly shook his head in denial. I also made some observations about him. This guy has run with Marines horde so many times. It's just that this guy is very evil. He can turn danger into good fortune every time and avoid our attacks. Speaking of which, Luo's expression became more serious. Kid is in charge, Luffy is in charge. This person should be a master. I don't think he intends to fight us, and Marine gradually surrounded him. Rather than fighting with someone who doesn't want to be our enemy, it's better to leave directly. What we are going to do now. Rhodes hasn't finished yet. Kid has already rushed up. You bastard, give Laozi down. While talking, a huge iron hand a few meters wide has surrounded Kid's right arm. There are firearms, knives and almost all metal products around it. Are you bothering me? To this, there was a look of surprise in Lin An's eyes. I didn't intend to continue doing it myself. It stands to reason. It's just a small soldier, and these supernovas should be looked down upon. Is it so aggressive? To this, Lin An also showed a surprised expression. No wonder, you will be the protagonists. Open your mouth calmly. Cracks appeared on Lin An's hands. This time, he just used Shock Fruit's ability normally. A supernova, even if it is a supernova with the protagonist, is just a supernova after all. I am a powerhouse at the peak level of the Emperor's assistant. If too much force is used, these guys are afraid to be killed on the spot. All delivered. Bang. Accompanied by a loud noise. Kid directly shattered the huge metal arm condensed from the magnetic fruit, and none of the guns and knives were intact. After cracking Kid's tricks, Lin An stepped on the ground and jumped into the air with a little effort. Kicked him in the face. Bang. Tumbling one after another. Kid crashed directly into a nearby tree. The huge tree trembled, and Lin An's huge strength directly caused it to sink into the trunk. This look. If there is no one to rescue, it is impossible to get out of it by relying on one's own strength. Look. To this, Luo Fu shook his head. I just said that he is not a simple marine, you still have to do things. During the conversation, Luo walked to the side of the tree trunk. Spread out your right hand, and the field expands again. A gleam flashed in his eyes. Room. With the power of the domain activated, Kid's body has been rescued from the tree trunk by Luo. Instinctively as a doctor, Luo briefly checked Kid's body. There was a look of surprise on his face. Apart from being a little embarrassed, Kid didn't add any scars. In this regard, Luo's suspicion deepened. He is definitely not an ordinary marine. He should be an undercover agent placed in the marine by a certain force. Let's see what will happen to the Sabayati archipelago. So, let's not provoke him. I have already learned what you said. Regarding Luo's respectful teaching, Kid nodded. However, his gaze was not on Luo, but still in Lin An's direction. However, it's not me that you should persuade now. Not you. That still, the doubts in Luo's heart flashed, and he immediately thought of another person. Could it be that? Turn around and look. Really? Luffy also rushed directly to Lin An. Third gear, rubber, giant pistol. With Luffy's attack, a huge fist has come to Lin An's body. No. Regarding this, Lin An was even more speechless. Could it be that Luffy didn't see Kid's tragedy just now? Now the strength of these three people is between equals. Even if Luffy is the protagonist, he doesn't think he can defeat himself with the aura of the protagonist, does he? On the hands, black and purple emerged. The strength of these guys is not enough for me, but they are still worth seeing in the Sabayati archipelago. Letting them continue to make a fuss about Sabayati archipelago is the best solution for Lin An. For this reason, they cannot really be harmed. To deal with Kid, Lin An can use Shock Fruit because he has metal fists. But not against Luffy. My own Shock Fruit has reached a certain level. It's just that if Luffy at the supernova level insists on eating his Shock Fruit energy, he won't want an arm. Bang. Luffy's third gear met Lin An's fist pair covered in armed colors. The strength is not bad. Feel the power of Luffy. It should be said that it has become a giant, and Lin An almost couldn't handle it for a while. But, just the very first moment, a gleam flashed in his eyes. A vein appeared on Lin An's forehead. The power transmitted to the fist instantly reached 10 times that of before. Bang. Luffy was also directly hit by Lin An. Coincidentally, it also fell into the huge mahogany trunk. The location is also near Kid. You two guys. To this. Luo could only sigh. Room. The field expands again. Pull Luffy out of the tree trunk the same way you rescued Kid. Luffy's in charge, didn't you see how embarrassing Kid was in charge just now? Since he is not our enemy, why bother to provoke him? Listening to Luo's words, Kid showed dissatisfaction on his face. However, since he was rescued by Luo just now, he can only pretend that he didn't hear it. But isn't he just an ordinary sailor? There was a look of excitement on Luffy's face. Even after being rescued by Luo, he didn't intend to stop. Listening to Luffy's words, Kid on the side nodded deeply. He thought so too at first. But, facing Kid and Luffy, Luo sighed helplessly. Now do you still think he is an ordinary sailor? Chapter 27 Kizaru vs Supernova, Lin An arrives. Advertise here. Chapter 27 Kizaru vs Supernova, Lin An arrives. Luffy and Kid shook their heads instantly. But, such a strong opponent, it won't hurt to challenge it, right? Luffy is still full of energy after being beaten. He looked in the direction of Lin An curiously. Luffy deserves to be Luffy. There was an excited expression on his face. Even after being rescued by Luo, he didn't intend to stop. He looked in Lin An's direction. Just as he was about to speak, he found that Lin An had disappeared, as if he had never existed. Strange. Luffy scratched his head suspiciously. Question marks were written all over his big face. Where did that person go? Or are we hallucinating? No, the pain is still on my body, it shouldn't be. Wow, so many familiar people. Under the huge mangrove. By various chances, half of the supernovae gathered together. 11 supernovas are absent, namely Luffy, Luo, Kid, Bonnie and Zoro. At this time, 6 supernovas are confronting each other. As supernovas, they naturally knew each other. They also know each other to a greater or lesser extent, so when they meet at this time, they naturally have to be vigilant against each other. Kizaru looked at the 6 supernovas who were confronting in front of him. He walked between them without any hesitation. 1, 2. Facing the 6 supernovas, Kizaru was not afraid. Instead, start counting. Wow, a total of 6 supernovae. If only I could arrest you all. I can get more than 700 million berries just for the bounty. So much money, how should I spend it? For a while. Kizaru was lost in thought. As if really thinking about how to spend this huge sum of money. This guy, isn't Kizaru. Just when Kizaru was lost in thought. With a pair of wings growing on his back, the burly man of nearly 4 meters had a different smile on his face. He is the supernova from Sky Island, Euroj. As a pirate, everyone wants to be famous, right? Instead of fighting each other, it would be more gimmick to kill an admiral together. This sentence is not wrong. Soon, there will be people who agree. A person dressed like Zoro stood up. It was the former Marine Rear Admiral, who later defected from Marine and became a pirate ex-Drake. If you can kill a Marine Admiral, even if 6 people join forces, our reputation will be instantly established. At that time, there will be a lot of responses in New World. What kind of subordinates do you want? For pirates, although Bailey is important, what is more important is strength. With strength, there will be money. This strength naturally also includes companions. The proposals of Euroj and Drake have obviously been accepted by others. Hira didn't speak, and gradually came to the direction slightly behind Kizaru with a specially made knife. Hawkins put away the cards and came to the other side of Kizaru with a blank face. I have to say that your proposal is in line with my idea. With a cigar in his mouth, Bej, nicknamed Gangster, walked directly in front of Kizaru. His performance is more direct. The ability of the castle fruit has been activated. Numerous openings were opened on the body, exposing the subordinates inside. Ha ha ha, Apu laughed. The whole person showed an expression of indifference. You beat you, I'm just a music player, I don't have much skill, so I won't participate in this matter. Talk about not blending. The body is very honest. The location he chose was right behind Wang Yuan. Oh. At this time, Kizaru seemed to wake up. Glancing over, he realized that he was surrounded by 6 supernovas just in a daze. It's terrible. Talking terrible. There was no emotion on Kizaru's face. Boo boo boo. Just when Kizaru was about to take the next step. The voice of the phone bug rang. Kizaru looked away again. He looked at the watch phone bug in his hand. A certain department. Kizaru had a puzzled look on his face. Isn't that how phone bugs answer? Saying that, Kizaru stretched out his hand and scratched his head directly. The doubt on his face told the people around him that he was not lying, that he really didn't know how to answer the phone bug. You bastard, don't you take us seriously. To this. Capone Bej got angry directly. He is a pure underworld debut. As the godfather of the underworld, he has never been so underestimated. Boom. Bang. 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 In an instant, guns and guns blared. Countless bullets and cannonballs flew out of Bej's body. For a moment, it was as if a rain of cannonballs and bullets was falling around Kizaru. The bullets, which were originally so small that they could hardly be seen by the naked eye, returned to their normal size as if by magic after leaving Bej's body. Boom. Boom. There were bursts of explosions and corresponding bullet collisions. The rain of bullets and shells did not do any harm to Kizaru. Not even interrupting Kizaru's ridiculous answer to the watch phone bug. Logia. Bej looked at Kizaru with a helpless expression on his face. Physical attacks can't cause any damage to it at all. This is really a difficult ability. Let me try it. Just at this time, Apu's voice came. Subsequently, a sound wave came from Apu's mouth. As if the sound wave had directly transformed into a real thing, it came directly to Kizaru's body. The substantial lines transformed by the sound waves directly cut Kizaru's body. It seems to be useful. Just when Apu was excited to claim credit, he was acutely aware that Kizaru was still responding to the watch phone bug. Let alone blood, he didn't even twitch his brows. To this, the confident response that reached his lips disappeared immediately. Next second, where Kizaru was cut by the sound waves, streaks of yellow light appeared. The severed body gradually healed. Even the clothes were restored to their original state. It seems that the power of sound waves can't pose a threat to those with Logia fruit ability. Wow, it seems that I just came at the right time. Just at this time, Lin An came to the scene. It's a good thing I didn't get too entangled with Luffy and the others, otherwise, wouldn't the excitement here not keep up? Eyes looked around. Lin An soon joined a group of Marines, which was a very good opportunity. Judging from his current strength, the battle between Kizaru and Supernova this time is enough to make his strength break through to the Admiral level. Chapter 28 Siege of Supernovas, Advanced to Admiral. Advertise here. Chapter 28 The Siege of Supernovas, Advanced to Admiral. How dare these pirates? Seeing that Bej and other 6 supernovas dared to fight Admiral directly, and even wanted to kill Admiral, the group of Marines were directly fooled. Let's press forward and support Kizaru Admiral. Playing for Kizaru Admiral, you may feel that your life is too long. Supernova is just a toy to Admiral, but it is a godlike existence to you. Lin An smiled slightly. He will not care about this kind of death. What he has to do is to pick out the attributes of these supernovas and Kizaru. Already reached the apex of the ranks from Emperor Vice to Admiral. This time, as long as there is one more attribute, he can instantly upgrade to an Admiral-level powerhouse. Lin An followed behind, gradually approaching the battlefield. Because it's a team of people, it doesn't look very abrupt. Tisk, what's the use of these guys rushing up? Yoroj glanced at the rushing Marine from the corner of his eye, but ignored them. The most important thing now is to kill Kizaru. Quickly rushed to Kizaru. Reaching out as a punch. Looking at Kizaru in front of him. There was a look of panic on Yoroj's face. Just like that, his fist went through Kizaru's head. However, it didn't mean to hit. Kizaru was still saying hello to the watch phone bug. It's useless to do that. Seeing this, Drake showed a speechless expression. Armament hockey must be used against Logia-capable users. Armament hockey. Except for Drake, who is in Marine, the New Age supernova has not even been heard of at the moment. Never mind. I looked around. Drake was slightly speechless. He drew the knife from his waist. It is covered with a layer of black-purple special energy. Although it is extremely unstable and the gloss is not very good, it is obviously unfamiliar. However, it can be regarded as having the means to deal with Logia. To this, Kizaru all suspended calls to the watch phone bug. Eyes were on Drake. Seeing Kizaru's reaction, Drake also had a happy expression on his face. See, Kizaru's reaction, which means that my armament hockey can already threaten him. I use armament hockey to make Kizaru unable to cast elementalization, and then you take advantage of the attack. Everyone go together. Listening to Drake's words, Lin An, who was hiding in the Marine, almost laughed out loud. You, a little supernova-level person, also want to pose a threat to the Admiral-level powerhouse. And still so thin armament hockey. It's just naive. But he was right about one thing. Even the most trashy armament hockey can force Logia fruit-capable users to no longer use elementalization. In other words, at least it can make Logia fruit ability users not ignore your attacks, and elementalization should also avoid attacks with armament hockey. Do it. Drake brandished his weapon. Just stab at Kizaru. Tisk. To this, Kizaru clicked his tongue helplessly. This time, he didn't choose to take it hard. Instead, just run away. See, the 6 supernovas seemed to have discovered a new continent, and their eyes lit up one after another. It seems that what Drake said makes sense. Great. As long as Kizaru can be forced not to use that disgusting elementalization, the 6 of us can definitely kill him together. Listen to the whims of the supernovas. Lin An shrugged helplessly. Should I say it or not? There is really nothing wrong with the saying that the ignorant are fearless. These guys really take themselves too seriously. While thinking, Lin An broke away from the Marines around him. Be careful not to attract attention along the way. Directly picked up the attribute dropped when Kizaru just left. You picked up 1 point of agility. Close black lens bracket. Enter the body with this attribute. Lin An only felt a huge change in his whole body. In an instant, it seemed that the whole world had changed. Suddenly there is a feeling of open sea and sky. Is this the strength of the Admiral level? Lin An, who had returned to the Marine, looked at his hands and muttered to himself. If you say that you at the Emperor's deputy level can have the confidence to cause devastating damage to an island, then the current self can really destroy an island. Not just destroying everything on the island, but destroying the island itself. At this time, Lin An looked at the 6 supernovas in front of him. More sympathy for them. Lin An, who has just broken through, has a stronger understanding of the ranks of Wangfu and Admiral. Even if his strength was at the peak of the Emperor's deputy just now, at most he could fight with Admiral-level existences without being dropped in seconds, and he would be completely suppressed and beaten. Not to mention their group of people who have just reached the supernova level. I was only a layer of window paper behind Admiral's level before, and I was completely crushed. And this group of supernovae is 3 big realms behind. It's easy to know what will happen if Kizaru gets serious. Come again. Drake saw Kizaru dodge. Start directing again. Admiral is definitely not something you and I can handle alone. But there are 6 of us here, there must be a way to make Kizaru deflated. It's still up to me to open the way. Use armament hockey to prevent Kizaru from using elementalization to evade your attacks. Then you just take advantage of this opportunity to attack him. Talking. Drake waved the western sword in his hand again and attacked where Kizaru was. The rest of the people nodded and followed. Apu and Bej stood in place remotely, waiting for Drake to force Kizaru to use elementalization to avoid. Kira, Yoroj and Hawkins followed directly behind Drake and rushed in Kizaru's direction. Kill. After getting close to Kizaru, Drake swung the western sword in his hand again, and was about to cut it down. You guys are really annoying. To this, Kizaru raised his finger slightly. A layer of armament hockey black as ink appeared on it. Very high purity, very high proficiency. Even twice as strong as Lin An's armament hockey. Clang. The sound of metal clanging sounded. Kizaru blocked Drake's knife with only one finger. You know, Drake is the ability user of Zone Devil Fruit, and his strength may not even be comparable to that of the Murlocs. With such a huge force, Kizaru blocked it with one finger. How can it be? Look at the surprised expression on Drake's face. Kizaru showed a scared look. Supernova, it's so scary. Chapter 29 Supernova is weak, Kizaru fights back. Advertise here. Chapter 29 Supernova is weak, Kizaru fights back. Everyone go together. Skalakman Apu, a person with the ability of sound fruit, can turn any part of the body into a musical instrument, and can use the sound waves produced by the musical instrument to attack. Although Drake's attack is blocked at this time, his function itself is not to cause damage to Kizaru, but to restrain Kizaru so that Kizaru does not use elementalization. From here as a starting point, he has succeeded. I saw that Apu's left hand turned into a suona. It blew up directly. Who is the best musical instrument? This is a question with no possible results at all, and it depends on personal preference. But if anyone has the most aggressive voice among musical instruments, it must be suona without a doubt. It is precisely because of this that suona is Apu's strongest killer move. Accompanied by the moment when Apu blew the suona. Visible to the naked eye, a sound wave as thick as a finger directly charged towards Kizaru. This is already the strongest attack method that Apu can achieve now. It's really a magical ability to even have this kind of means. This is a surefire move. Fast, destructive, and even has sound as cover to distract Kizaru. But, it was such a trick, but Kizaru easily caught it with his hands. That's right, catch it with your hands. Kizaru actually held the sound wave in his hand. Sound waves. The speed can't compare to my speed of light. Is it the speed of light? Listening to Kizaru's words, Lin An showed a thoughtful look on his face. Kizaru is fast, very fast. However, it has not reached the speed of light, even when it is elemental. Kizaru's speed should be the limit speed that the body can achieve today. After all, if there really is the speed of light, it is impossible for others to pose a threat to Kizaru just by using the speed. Not to mention fighting against it, anyone who is an enemy of the sparkling fruit ability user can only watch himself being killed by him. The speed of light is simply not a speed that the human body can bear. Of course, this does not deny that sparkling fruit has the potential to allow sparkling fruit users to have the speed of light. It's just that the world of One Piece is not a world with particularly strong combat power, and it is impossible for people who can achieve the physical fitness of light speed to appear. If it were me, should be about right. Thinking of this, Lin An thought about himself. If it's just penance, according to the upper limit of growth in the world of One Piece, it is impossible for him to reach the physical fitness of the speed of light. But, he is not only practicing, but also has the cheat of choosing attributes. If there is anyone who can bring out the full potential of sparkling fruit, he is the only one. Boom. There was a muffled sound. Kizaru crushed the sound wave with his bare hands. This action just scared Apu stupid. You actually crushed the sound waves. This is hockey. Drake spoke again now. Armament hockey has an effect that destroys Devil Fruit's abilities. This is also the fundamental reason why it can cause damage to Logia Demon Fruit power. In addition to Logia, Paramesha attacks similar to yours with special effects and long-range attacks can naturally be blocked. Kizaru is more dependent on the fruit ability, but Haki is not weak. Keep attacking, don't be distracted by it. After Drake's explanation, everyone nodded. At the same time, I also have curiosity and desire for an offensive method like armament Haki. They are all strong men who have sailed all the way over the sea. Who hasn't run into a couple of Logia's fruit powers and the formidable Paramesha demon fruit power? This armament Haki is a lifesaver. Drake Rear Admiral, you know a lot. Kizaru set his sights on Drake. Although there are 6 supernovas in total, you are still the most dangerous. After all, you know the most information and are now their backbone. Listen to Kizaru. Drake instinctively felt something was wrong. It doesn't matter what other people do. Transform instantly. Roar. Drake's devil fruit is dragon fruit, ancient species, Allosaurus form. At this time, he perfectly restored the species that only existed in ancient times, the specific dragon. The huge dragon's mouth instantly bites towards Kizaru. It can be seen that the teeth in the mouth of Allosaurus are covered with armament Haki. However, because Drake armament Haki's cultivation base is not strong, it can't achieve all-round coverage. However, even so he has the ability to hurt Kizaru. That's terrible, Drake Rear Admiral. Kizaru said it was scary. The expression on his face didn't change. The body instantly disappeared before people's eyes. Even Lin An was almost lost. Kizaru's speed surprised Lin An. He has initially possessed Admiral level strength. Even so, he was almost lost, which is enough to show how fast Kizaru is. The speed is so fast, it is worthy of the ability of sparkling fruit. Bye. Follow Lin An's line of sight. At this time Kizaru has arrived at Drake's head. The top of the right leg becomes golden light. The laziness of the whole person finally disappeared at this moment. Kick out. Bang. Drake's body flew upside down quickly. The fruit ability disappeared in an instant, and Drake collapsed directly on the ground, his eyes turned white, and he passed out. You picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up a power. Close black lens bracket. Terrible power. Li Changqing picked up the attribute dropped by Kizaru, his eyes were full of surprise. His horror is not the horror of Kizaru teasing those 6 supernovas. Rather, it has a double meaning. One is superficially marveling at Kizaru's strength. The second is to be surprised at the abundance of Kizaru's drop attributes. This attribute adds more power to Lin An than Luffy and the other supernovas. How can it be so strong? Apu looked at Kizaru's direction and was dumbfounded. Drake is the strongest among these supernovas in terms of strength and other aspects. But even so, when facing Kizaru, he still couldn't reach the opponent's kick. Such a huge gap in strength directly made him doubt his life. For a moment, he even had the idea of running away. It's just that he didn't run away directly because everyone else was not in a mess. Are you finally willing to fight us? Just at this time, Yoroge stood in front of Kizaru with a smile, his face full of confidence. Although I don't know the so-called armament Haki, as long as you are willing to fight with me, I can kill you. Chapter 30 Pick up the sparkling fruit, and the supernova is wiped out. Advertise here. Chapter 30 Pick up the sparkling fruit, and the supernova is wiped out. Oh, looking at Yoroge in front of him, Kizaru had a surprised expression on his face. A finger points to Yoroge. A laser beam instantly reached Yoroge's body. However, this laser did not hurt Yoroge, but was absorbed by Yoroge. The body also became a little bigger. I see. Kizaru, who has seen a lot, immediately understood what made Yoroge so confident. It is a devil fruit that can absorb enemy attacks to strengthen itself. Kizaru laughed while introducing his guess. But this type of fruit has a limit, right? Yoroge was taken aback by Kizaru's words. His fruit does have an absorption limit. Bang. Before Yoroge could respond, Kizaru's feet were already in front of him. Useless. Although Yoroge couldn't see Kizaru's movements clearly. But his fruit ability will not be affected by this. The whole body became a little bigger again. Your attack will only make me stronger. In this regard, Kizaru showed a wicked mocking expression on his face. Really? Talking. His feet have turned into golden laser beams, pouring into Yoroge's body endlessly. Get bigger. Bigger again. Yoroge's body soared from nearly 4 meters to 17 meters. At this time, a little hesitation appeared on Yoroge's face. This means that Yoroge has reached its limit. Bang. Next second, Yoroge's body shrank to its original size like a leaky balloon, and lay limply on the ground. Just like this, it's not enough to watch. You picked up a power. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You picked up a sparkling fruit. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You pick up. Close black lens bracket. Lin An quietly came to the vicinity of Kizaru and picked up the attribute that Kizaru just dealt with Yoroge. After learning what he saw, he was dumbfounded. Sparkling fruit. For a moment, Lin An was ecstatic. First, being able to pick up devil fruit is the chance of winning a lottery ticket. Secondly, it also proves that he does not have to abide by, or in other words, the devil fruit ability picked up in the attribute selection does not have to obey the rules of the world of One Piece. As long as it is picked up by the system, then he can have more than one devil fruit ability. Aren't you going to run now? At this time, Kizaru has moved to the rear. That's where Bej and Arpu are. Broken. Bej reacted immediately. The whole body instantly became huge, and a castle rose from the ground. It is Bej's castle fruit that materializes. Wow, what a tall castle. What am I going to do with such a big castle? Kizaru was talking. There was a troubled expression on one side of his face. The foot has been kicked over. It directly penetrated the castle and kicked the huge castle right through. Bej was also hit hard by it. He fell directly to the ground, unconscious. See this situation. Apu no longer intends to confront Kizaru head-on. Turn around and leave. But, how could Kizaru let him go so easily? The speed is fast, and the last come first. Kizaru directly blocked Apu's way of escaping. Are you leaving now? Yes. Apu's face trembled. Forced a smile to Kizaru. I still have something to do, so I'll leave first. If you leave, I will be embarrassed. Kizaru scratched his head at this. During this period, Kizaru raised his foot. Apu escaped quickly. The speed of going back was faster, and it directly hit Kira's body. Kira, who hadn't made a move, didn't even realize what happened, and passed out together with Apu. Now, is it quieter? Kizaru glanced around. At this time, Hawkins was the only one left of the original 6 supernovae. Kizaru's body shifted again. The figure has arrived in front of Hawkins. You guys have been pretty quiet. Don't you have anything to say? During the conversation, a laser shot out from Kizaru's hand. Hawkins instinctively wanted to dodge. But his speed is too slow compared to Kizaru. Kizaru's laser hit him instantly. But, the laser that was supposed to be a fatal injury, at least a serious injury, did not hurt Hawkins. A mutilated scarecrow falls on Hawkins. Hawkins himself was left intact. You picked up an armament hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up a power. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket you pick up. Close black lens bracket. I want to say that too. Hawkins stood up to leave. Like Uroja's absorption, his scarecrow is capped. I can't beat you, so I said I plan to leave. If you want to stop it, then come on. It's so cute. To this, Kizaru also showed a hint of surprise on his expression, as if wondering why Hawkins dared to be so crazy. Shish. Another laser shot. Another small scarecrow fell from Hawkins' body. Then, countless lasers are emitted from Kizaru's hand. I don't know if it was a fight with Hawkins, but Kizaru didn't leave his place this time. Wow. A mouthful of blood spurted out. I don't know how many scarecrows have been lost. Kizaru's laser finally hurt him. At this time, Kizaru stopped, and Elemental moved quickly. The figure has come to Hawkins' side. Seeing Hawkins fell to the ground in embarrassment. Kizaru said slightly jokingly, just now I thought you were so confident because you had confidence in your own strength. Now it seems that it is nothing more than that. Hawkins also secretly hated. He has fled as fast as possible. But, Kizaru's speed is really hopeless. As the person you're targeting not even eligible to escape. That's not true. Several figures appeared in Kizaru's mind. Those are the existences with names and surnames above the sea. There are also many people that I can't or dare not do anything to. Boo boo boo. Just at this time, the voice of the phone bug rang again. Kizaru was puzzled for a moment, and then took out the phone bug from his pocket. Moshi Moshi. Old man, where did you go? Listen to the voice inside the phone bug. Kizaru glanced around. There was a hint of thought in his eyes. It's nothing, it's just a walk before doing the task. Take a walk. After picking up the attributes, Lin An was a little speechless. Killing a supernova in seconds, and 6 at a time can only be classified as a strolling stage. Okay. There was a speechless voice on the opposite side of the phone bug. I found the Straw Hat Boys. Come here quickly, old man. Chapter 31 Sentomaru Debut, Pacifist Debut. Advertise here. Chapter 31 Sentomaru Debut, Pacifist Debut. Under another mangrove in the Sabayati archipelago. A fat man hangs up the phone bug. This fat man is Zon Momomaru, who just called Kizaru a bug. Sentomaru's opponent is Luffy's gang. After a beating from Lin An, Luffy, Luo, and Kid dispersed completely. Now even Luffy has realized the lack of strength on his own side, and decided to leave Sabayati archipelago for the time being. Really? Zon Taoan looked impatient. The old man must have regarded the watch phone bug as a communication phone bug again. How many times has this happened, and I can't teach it every time. An old man too. Seeing Sentomaru's complaint, Luffy walked in front of Sentomaru. There was also a look of resentment on his face. These older people are always going to do some annoying things. Listening to Luffy's words, Sentomaru seemed to have found a confidant. Yeah, these old guys are really difficult to deal with. The more he talked about Zon Taoan, the more excited he became. It was as if he wanted to tell all the grievances he had suffered over the years. Obviously we know much more than we know, but every time we do something, it will be confusing. Obviously I have taught it many times, but I just can't learn it. For a while, Zon Taowen began to express his dissatisfaction. And there is a posture of talking more and more vigorously. Let's go. Nami came to Luffy with a look of fear on his face. Walk. Luffy had a puzzled look on his face. Why? He's very interesting. Nami suppressed the anger in his heart. But, he is Marine. Marine. Luffy looked hesitant. There was a surprised expression on his face. Yes, if you don't believe me, look around him. Look in the direction Nami is pointing. There are indeed quite a few Marines around Zon Taowen, and they are all staring at Luffy. If it wasn't for Zon Taowen who didn't open his mouth to give an order, they would have come up a long time ago. You're so despicable. The situation made Luffy furious. You're actually Marine. I'm not a Marine. Zon Taowen stopped complaining, and looked at Luffy with a slight dissatisfaction on his face. Although I really want to be a Marine, but now is not the time, I still have more important tasks. Speaking of this, Zon Taowen was taken aback. Then he quickly waved his hands. I didn't say that I was the guard protecting Dr. Vegapunk. Ah, Zon Taowen's words stunned Luffy and his group. After looking at each other, even Luffy sensed something was wrong. There was a hint of strangeness in Robin's eyes. So, the phone bug you just called was to Vegapunk. How can it be? The place where Dr. Vegapunk is located has strong magnetic interference. Unless you use a special phone bug, it is impossible to get in. Zon Taowen showed disdain. Get an important intelligence. However, this information is of no use to the current Luffy gang. Looking at Zon Taowen, Robin spoke again. So, it's the Marine Admiral who came to Sabayati Archipelago this time. How do you know I'm calling Mr. Kizaru? The words just came out of my mouth. Zon Taowen immediately covered his mouth. I didn't tell you that the old man is rushing over now. Admiral is coming. This information is extremely important. And it's about them now. The pupils of Luffy's group shrank slightly. Everyone tensed up. They had met Admiral, though not Kizaru but Aokiji. But that sense of powerlessness still lingers in my heart to this day. Kizaru is also Admiral, definitely not something they can handle. Go. To this. Luffy went straight to the wisest order. Zoro, Sanji, and the rest of the Straw Hat Pirates responded immediately. Immediately planned to leave. The current Sabayati Archipelago is too dangerous, and the most important thing is to avoid the limelight first. Walk. Hearing Luffy's words, Zon Taomaru, who was still in a daze just now, sneered disdainfully. Have you left yet? Follow the words of Zon Taowen. A giant over 7 meters tall appeared in front of Luffy's group. How? It's him. Appearing in front of Luffy and the others was a man who was nearly 7 meters tall and looked like a bear man. Bartholomew Bear. Zoro's pupils shrunk. As the one who bears all of Luffy's pain, he is more aware of the power of bears. This is simply not someone they can defeat. If the opponent is a bear, maybe there's no need to wait for Admiral to arrive at all. Thinking of this, Zoro directly drew out his 3 knives to respond. Run. Obviously, Zoro wanted to kill himself and buy time for Luffy and the others to escape. Run. Hearing Zoro's words, Sentomaru smiled disdainfully. Do you think you can escape? Go ahead, pacifist. Zon Taomaru did not call Shang a bear, but pacifists. Pity. This kind of information can no longer be heard by Luffy and his group at this time. Target locked. Database search. There. Straw Hat Monkey D. Luffy, with a bounty of 300 million Baileys. Pirate Hunter Roronoa Zoro, with a bounty of 120 million Baileys. The little thief Cat Nami. Soon. Bear, locked on Luffy and others. Spread your hands forward. The meatball that Zoro feared did not appear. In front of you is a barrel. Between doubts, a golden light appeared from the barrel of the bear. Get away. With the sound, the laser immediately exploded around Luffy and the others. Fortunately, although the power of the laser is strong, the explosion effect is not high. Coupled with the physical sensitivity of Luffy et al., it didn't hurt. This is not a bear trick. Could it be that he hid something before? Look at the bear in front of you. Zoro gave a puzzled expression. He doesn't know exactly what kind of person a bear is, but although the form is different, it can be regarded as fighting. The current laser is completely different from the previous attack method, and it cannot be the ability of the same person. At this time, Zon Taowen spoke at the right time. A little doubt and distress appeared on his face. Who told you he was a bear? It's pacifist. It is a humanoid weapon of the new era. The bear's appearance was chosen only because the bear's body was strong enough. So this is Hear this answer. Zoro breathed a sigh of relief. The rest of the Straw Hat Pirates had similar expressions, only Luffy showed doubts. Seeing the expressions of his companions, Luffy scratched his head in doubt. So, what happened? Is there anything special about this guy? Chapter 32. These are the 3 major powers of our Straw Hat Regiment. Advertise here. Chapter 32. These are the 3 strengths of our Straw Hat Regiment. Listening to Luffy's words, Zoro tightened the knife in his hand. If he is not a bear, there should be nothing to fear. That being said, it can also be seen from his performance that he is not really indifferent. Sanji on the side glanced at Zoro. He also knew Zoro's previous experience. He threw the cigarette butt in his mouth on the ground and crushed it with his feet. This guy is not easy to deal with. Don't go up one by one this time. Let's all come together. In this regard, Luffy said it doesn't matter. Is it necessary? Let me go first. Listening to Luffy's words, Zoro didn't pay attention. The knives on both hands have already started to spin. From slow to fast, the whole person ran towards the direction of the pacifist at high speed. 3000 world. With Zoro passing by, Zoro's 3 knives quickly cut the pacifist's huge body several times. Although there are some effects, at least let Luffy and others see the metal in the pacifist. However, it didn't do any real damage. If it's just at the supernova level, it's not bad. Watching Zoro's attack, Sentomaru nodded. Affirmed Zoro's attack strength. However, the certain class is limited to the supernova level. And this level is not taken by him. However, if it's only at the level of a supernova, it's impossible to beat the pacifists. Impossible. Upon hearing Zon Taowen's words, Luffy's eyes clearly showed disbelief. Devil Wind Foot. Pity. The second shot wasn't Luffy, it was Sanji. I saw that Sanji's right leg was burning with flames under the rapid rotation. The whole person jumped up high, spun rapidly, and landed on the face of the pacifist. First meet. Clang. After Sanji's slightly indifferent voice, there was the metallic sound of Sanji colliding with the pacifist's face. It cannot be said that Sanji's attacks fell on the faces of the pacifists for nothing. But it can only be said to be negligible. Even, it was not as bad as the damage to his legs caused by the metal shock. What is this? Back quickly. Sanji rubbed his sore leg, a look of confusion appeared on his face. This was the first time he had seen such a situation, and the effect of the flames on the pacifist was only to damage his paint job. Sanji. Looking at Sanji's direction, Sentomaru showed an inexplicable expression on his face. Should I say that he is indeed from that family? However, it's still a pity. If you have that family's technology, this physical fitness plus the technology bonus, the pacifist really may not be your opponent. Sentomaru's murmurs were not noticed. Otherwise, with his colander-like mouth, it only takes 1 or 2 questions for Robin to extract the information. Third gear. Aegis Luffy finally makes his move. Put your hand to your mouth and bite hard. The almost terrifying lung capacity instantly blew up the arm. Rubber rubber. During the conversation, Luffy was already waving his hand in the direction of the pacifists. The pacifists did not sit still when they saw this. The mouth opens, and a gun barrel emerges from within. Both hands aimed at Luffy's fist. The 3 gun barrels burst into shining golden yellow at this moment. Giant pistol. Buzz. Both Luffy and the pacifist strike simultaneously. Bang. There was a muffled sound. Luffy's fist, larger than a giant, had fallen on the pacifist's head. As for the pacifist laser, it was directly blocked by Luffy with mortal feces. No. What the mortal body said is not accurate. It is more accurate to say that the hardened rubber blocked it. Zila. After a punch, Luffy shrinks instantly. After releasing his strength, Luffy also understood what was going on with him, and quickly backed away. Zoro, Sanji, I'll leave the rest to you. At this time. Where does the pacifist still look like the mighty Haki just now? The head was smashed flat by Luffy. The mechanical structure inside is exposed. How can it be? Seeing this situation, Zon Taowen was a little dumbfounded. The originally low voice turned into a roar inadvertently. He stared dumbfounded at the scars on the pacifist's head. This is a high-strength material developed by Dr. Vegapunk. Don't say that you are just supernovas, even if Vice Admiral wants to break through, it is not so easy. In fact, Sanji's voice came. At this time, flames appeared on his feet again, and even the flames gradually spread to the whole body. The demeanor of the whole person became extremely serious. This time, he was already planning to do his best. There is nothing impossible in this world. Miracle is a word used to describe the breaking of things that seem impossible to you. While talking, Sanji's body has already leapt high. Rushed directly at the pacifists as if a meteorite had landed. Devil Wind Foot. First class ground meat. The figures intertwine. Sanji fell to the ground. The pain in the feet spread all over the body in an instant. At this time, Sanji's right leg faintly seemed to be about to be broken. But, what this injury brought in was also very obvious. That is, the already damaged shell of the pacifist was completely kicked to pieces by him. Forget about physical pain for a moment. Sanji looked in Zoro's direction. Green algae head. I know. Zoro's eyes turned red, vaguely. His body has changed. 3 heads and 6 arms. Ghost Chi 9 sword style. After the words fell, Zoro stepped forward. The knife in his hand quickly cut the pacifist's body. Ashura magic 9 flashes. The voice fell. 9 strikes in succession have sliced through the damaged pacifist. In this way, the pacifists have been completely destroyed. Impossible. Seeing this, Zon Taowen's eyes almost popped out. This is a new weapon that Marine just got from Vegapunk. The first mission was destroyed. And it's not those famous and powerful people, just a few supernovas. How is it impossible? Nami became excited beside him. Usopp is also dancing and twisting his ass. As if he was the one responsible for destroying the pacifists. These are the 3 strengths of our Straw Hat Pirates. Are you scared? Go away if you're afraid. Afraid. Hearing Usopp's words, Zon Momomaru laughed out loud. 4 pacifists gradually walked out of the shadow behind him. Chapter 33 4 Pacifists, the Desperate Straw Hats. Advertise here. Chapter 33 4 Pacifists, the Desperate Straw Hats. 4. Usopp covered his head with an extremely handsome expression on his face. Hiss. Luffy, isn't it, Zoro? This is a bit difficult. Sanji said. Although the Straw Hat Pirates eliminated a pacifist beautifully, everyone was close to exhaustion. Sanji's leg was nearly broken. Zoro has not recovered from absorbing all the injuries Luffy suffered on Moonlight Mariah, and now he is just holding on to prevent everyone from worrying. Luffy is because he has not stopped fighting in the auction field, and it is already amazing that he can still move at this time. It's okay to tell you. The surprise on Zon Taowen's face gradually disappeared. I am very satisfied with the performance of the Straw Hat Pirates. This pacifist is not a special weapon, but a mass-produced weapon. Following Zon Taowen's voice fell. The 4 pacifists behind him gradually moved in the direction of Luffy's group. Target, Straw Hat Monkey D. Luffy. The 4 pacifists quickly recorded Luffy and others directly on their computers, just like the previous one. It's difficult, you have to do it. To this, Zoro braced his body and stood up. You have to face these difficulties if you want to survive. Tough, powerful and dependable. Be able to stand up at any time when encountering danger and difficulty. This is Zoro. Following Zoro's words, everyone gradually regained their confidence. When have they been peaceful along the way? Every time I come out of difficulties. Especially after entering the Grand Line. Whether it's Alabasta facing Sand Crocodile in the Kingdom of Sand, facing God Enel in Sky Island, facing CP9 in Capital of 7 Waters or facing Moonlight Mariah in Thriller Bark. Which one was not a fight to the brink of death? Which one didn't take a lot of hard work? How could it be possible to admit defeat here? Right. Sanji lit a cigarette. Flicking his feet, he no longer considered whether his body was still intact. He just wants to live with his friends now. We face it together and nothing can stop us. Just at this time, Luffy returned to normal size. Yes, we have come through strong winds and waves. While speaking, Luffy touched his hands together. Everyone go together, there must be a way. Listening to Luffy's encouragement, the others quickly cheered up. Nami took the lead. The weather stick released electricity in her hand, and hit a pacifist directly in front of her at once. Concentrate on it, let's destroy one first. Usopp spoke. Immediately afterwards, he placed a platoon shell on the slingshot. Pull hard. Pai Chube has been activated by him. Swipe. Bang. The huge power possessed by Pai Babe directly made the pacifists take a few steps back. See this opportunity. Robin folded his hands over his chest. Arms composed of countless petals surrounded layer by layer. Immobilize the body of the pacifist directly. Pacifists, however, are robots and are not at all afraid of knuckle-locking tricks. Robin's power was simply not enough to keep the pacifists in check for very long. Do it, quick. Feeling the power of the pacifist, Robin began to call out to his partners while trying to control himself not to release the fruit ability. Human form. Chopper, who was the least courageous, also directly ate a blue wave ball at this time. The body quickly rushed towards the direction of the pacifist controlled by Robin. Strong right hand. On the other side, Frankie also raised his right fist high. The cola in his body boiled like crazy. Chopper is on the left and Frankie is on the right. 2. People jumped high. Straight to the head of the pacifist. For a while, the head of the pacifist, struck by 2 heavy blows, started to spark. Obviously, everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates has broken the defense one by one. No song sanding. At this time, Brook approached slowly. The crutch sword was pulled out by him. The whole person seems to have a little breath of hell in the underworld. Ice appeared at his feet. Arrow tail cut. Next second. Brook misses him. It is already behind the pacifists. Zila. The sword just now penetrated the pacifist's head. For a while, the pacifist's computer goes haywire. Started to move uncontrollably. No, I can't control it. To this, Robin gritted his teeth and wanted to suppress, but the power of the crazy pacifist surged. Strapped to the pacifist, the flower fruit arm was pulled free. Boom. The golden lasers were released irregularly in the pacifist's mouth and hands. There is no difference at all, and it doesn't care about instinctive energy reserves at all. For a while, this uncontrolled pacifist threat is actually more difficult to deal with than those controlled pacifists. Do not be afraid. At this time, Zoro stood up. Standing beside Zoro is Sanji. The two are on the left and the right. Zoro has 3 knives ready. Sanji's body has also started to burst into flames. 3 swords, 3,000 worlds. Devil Fengjiao, ground meat. The big moves of the two were used again. For a while. It was windy and cloudy. Even because the distance between the two is relatively close. There are vague appearances of fusion skills, forming a fire tornado. Boom. A huge roar sounded. Zoro's knife and Sanji's leg are stamped on the pacifist's sparkling head. Just blow his head away. But, even so, the pacifist still did not stop. Third gear. Just at this time, Luffy's huge fist fell from the sky. Rubber. Giant pistol. With Luffy's fist down. The pacifists were directly crushed into the ground. Boom. With a burst of explosion sounded. The pacifist was scrapped directly, and there was no more movement. Sharp. In this regard, Zon Taoan also gave a very high evaluation. It's just one pirate group, but it can kill 2 pacifists. However, what are you going to do with the next 3 stations? Following Zon Taoan's voice fell. The 3 remaining pacifists approached. A sense of oppression suddenly arises. Run. To this. Luffy directly gave the order to flee. Now there are only 3 pacifists left, which means there is a loophole in one direction. Run. But, just at this time, Kizaru led troops over and directly blocked the direction of Luffy's escape. Chapter 34. Kizaru arrives. The Straw Hats are treated as sandbags. Advertise here. Chapter 34. Kizaru arrives. The Straw Hats are treated as sandbags. Kizaru brought Marine here directly. His arrival directly blocked the last way out of the Straw Hat Pirates. Blocked on 3 sides by pacifists. The last side is facing Marine Admiral. Not only that, the already weak Straw Hat Pirates have just solved 2 pacifists. It is no exaggeration to say that he has no fighting power at all. Straw Hat crew plunges straight into the biggest crisis ever. Grandpa, are you mistaking the watch phone bug for a phone bug again? Seeing Kizaru coming, Sentomaru looked at him unhappily. The word, complaint, was written all over his face. How to say? Kizaru's thoughts returned to the place just now. The names of those 6 supernovae couldn't be recalled for a while. But, those people were not very important to him either. The purpose of coming here this time is to catch the pirates who beat up the celestial dragons. Looking at Luffy and the others, Kizaru asked, are they Straw Hat Luffy and the rest of the Straw Hat Pirates? Don't change the subject. Sentomaru watched Kizaru forcefully change the subject. The whole person is a bit Spartan. How many times have I taught you that? Why can't you remember? Now, the capture of Straw Hat Luffy begins. Kizaru avoided Sentomaru's words again. Command the Marines around you. I also quickly came to the front of Luffy and others. The sparkling fruit after elementalization allowed him to directly cross a distance of more than 10 meters. The speaking voice has not fully conveyed. People have arrived in front of Luffy. Are you Luffy? Yes, it's me. Luffy looked at Kizaru, who was also a little nervous even though he was fearless. Kizaru in front of him looked a little lazy, but the breath from his body almost overwhelmed him. What do you want to do? Oh, that's you. Kizaru nodded. Kicked out with one kick. Bang. Luffy was hit directly. The whole body quickly flew upside down. Luffy saw Luffy being beaten by Kizaru. The rest of the Straw Hat Pirates showed worried expressions. Usopp and Brook, the closest to Luffy, came the quickest. Straight to Kizaru's body. Asshole. Except, Usopp couldn't care what type of shell he was holding at this time. Just pull the slingshot and shoot it out. 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots. Ha. Brook on the other side was also nervous. There is no need for tricks, just stab Kizaru with the crutch sword in his hand. Angry and anxious, Luffy comforted Usopp and Brook with great strength. Their attacks were extremely sharp at this time. However, their attacks have no effect. Ridiculous. Seeing the appearance of Usopp and Brook, Zon Momomaru sneered. You don't really think your attacks will have an effect on Admiral, do you? Sarcasm. Blatant sarcasm. Also, the old man is a Logia fruit capable user. You don't even have armament hockey, and you don't even have the ability to make the old man look at you. Although this is said ruthlessly, it is not a problem. You picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. Lin An picked up an attribute. Recalling the time when the Whitebeard Pirates faced off against the enemy. Logia devil fruit is without a doubt the toughest of the devil fruits. Without armament hockey, even if it is several times stronger than the opponent, it cannot cause effective damage to him. While thinking about my time in the Whitebeard Pirates, Lin An looked at Kizaru with doubts in his eyes. It always felt like something was wrong with Kizaru against Luffy. It's not that Lin An has met Kizaru before. It's that Kizaru's tactics against Luffy are a little different from those against those supernovas. What is different specifically? Lin An couldn't figure it out for a while. Run. At this time, Luffy, who was kicked flying, barely got up. Escape separately. Scared. Totally scared. After receiving a kick from Kizaru. Luffy thoroughly understood the gap between himself and Kizaru. If we say that pacifists are existences that everyone can unite and deal with, then Kizaru is someone who can't be beaten no matter what. In Luffy's opinion, Kizaru not only has the same unlockable ability as the smoker, but his strength is far beyond his imagination. If you really want to bite the bullet and fight, Then, the partners he gathered with great difficulty may be wiped out immediately. Run. Run separately. How many times can you run? Hear what Luffy said. Everyone froze in place. Especially Sanji and Zoro looked at Luffy in disbelief. We have been sailing together for some time. But never seen Luffy like this before. Everyone. Luffy stood up. His face was full of dignity. This is not something we can fight now. Only by surviving can we have a future. We assemble on Thousand Sunny. Hear what Luffy said. The others looked troubled. All right. Sanji nodded and ran away first. Nami, Robin. Everyone stays as far away from Kizaru as possible. Admiral. Not something they can handle. Not even a glance at it. This is the deterrent power of Marine's highest combat power. Want to run. Kizaru looked at the fleeing crowd with a thoughtful look on their faces. Bang. Step on it. Brook has been trampled by Kizaru. Brook is in danger. It was quickly discovered by the rest of the Straw Hat crew. Immediately someone turned around to support Brook. Leave me alone. Brook's voice sounded. Tears welled up in his eyeless sockets. I was originally a dead man. It is very lucky to be able to survive and get to know everyone. Now, it's up to me to hold Kizaru. You guys go. Talking. Brook turned and grabbed Kizaru's leg. However, his hand went through Kizaru's leg instead. It's so touching. Kizaru's signature unemotional voice rang out. The foot kicked Brook's skeleton again without mercy. Spit out a mouthful of sour water. No idea where Brook got his stomach from. From his skeletal mouth spit out something that only a mortal stomach could produce. I see. You picked up a power. Close black lens bracket. Seeing this, Lin An's eyes lit up. After several shots from Kizaru, he finally figured out the difference between Kizaru now and when he played other supernovas before. Chapter 35. The Straw Hats are wiped out, and Rayleigh appears. Advertise here. Chapter 35. The Straw Hats are wiped out. Rayleigh comes on stage. It's the fruit ability. Having said that, Lin An shook his head. He denied his own words. Not only the fruit ability, but also hockey, he didn't use it, he just used his physical strength. Although I noticed that Kizaru's battle is different. But Lin An still couldn't figure it out. This blatantly releases the water. No, what is the purpose of the fighting method of releasing the sea? You picked up a power. Close black lens bracket. It's really united. At this time, Kizaru looked around. Sanji, Luffy has already rushed forward. Zoro moved a bit, and the sweat immediately fell from his forehead. The whole person half kneeled on the ground. The injury that hadn't recovered at this time became more serious because of the disturbance and the forced use of the Nine Swords technique beyond his own strength. Brook. Both Luffy and Sanji attacked Kizaru at the same time. However, both Sanji's foot and Luffy's fist penetrated directly into Kizaru's body. Just like Sentomaru said, they can't hurt Kizaru without armament hockey. Damn it. To this, Luffy and Sanji are outraged. But there is nothing to do. Come again. During the conversation, Luffy and Sanji are about to attack again. However, Kizaru came first. However, if the strength is insufficient, no matter how united they are just a group of ants. Kizaru's feet landed directly on Luffy's face. It fell suddenly again. Luffy's body was directly stepped on the ground by him. Swipe. And Sanji's attack penetrated Kizaru's body again. You boy, if you have had enough fun, you can go back. Your family doesn't want you to continue hanging out with a group of pirates. Kizaru glanced at Luffy. At this time, Luffy couldn't get up at all, so he turned his head to look at Sanji. Listen to Kizaru. Sanji frowned slightly. Of course he knew what Kizaru meant. There was a look of anger on his face. If they really cared about me, I wouldn't be here at all. Talking. Flames rose from Sanji's body. However, this flame has just ignited. A sharp pain instantly spread throughout the whole body. The huge pain made his body short. The trick is to cut off directly. Is your foot hurt? Kizaru shifted his gaze to the two broken pacifists. Both pacifists have obvious footprints on their bodies. Noticing this, Kizaru shook his head. In an instant, I understood why. People can be brave, but it depends on your own strength, understand? During the conversation, Kizaru's fist came down, hitting Sanji directly in the stomach. To this, Sanji tilted his head. People have passed out. Run, run. At this time, Luffy's voice sounded again. He unexpectedly stood up crookedly again. Nami, Chopper and others covered their mouths and gritted their teeth. Although not reconciled, but this is really the only way now. Luffy, you have to live. I don't know who yelled such a sentence. The remaining members of the Straw Hat Pirates who were still able to move scattered and fled. Want to run? He looked around. Kizaru actually yawned at this moment. Obviously, he was a little tired. 1. Out foot. Nami fell. I know you. In the next second, Kizaru's figure had arrived in front of Robin. You are a very important person. Crocodile protected you before, and our marines couldn't do anything. Now, Robin was about to speak. People also fell to the ground. Next is Chopper. Usopp. In less than a minute, the Straw Hat Pirates are wiped out. You picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. Picking up 2 devil fruit growth experiences one after another, Lin An can be said to be extremely happy. Eyes also looked in Kizaru's direction. Admiral is Admiral. Even if they've been released into the sea, it's not something these newcomers can handle. Lin An said it calmly. It never occurred to him that he had only sailed on the sea for more than a year. Kizaru. At this time, a voice sounded, immediately caught Kizaru's attention. Follow the sound. Zoro stood up. Seeing Zoro, Kizaru looked up and down, with a surprised expression in his eyes. It's incredible that your body can still stand up. It doesn't matter. Zoro retracted the 2 knives. Aim Kizaru with 3rd generation Onitaru. Make a bet with me. As long as I can hurt you, you will let my companion go. How? Listen to Zoro. Kizaru showed a lack of interest. The figure flickered. People have come to Zoro. The fingers just lightly touch Zoro's belly. Hiss. Huge pain swept through the body again. Zoro didn't fall. Don't you dare. Dare not. Kizaru had a smile on his face listening to Zoro's words. What a naive aggressive method. Do you expect me to accept the offer? Zoro was about to nod. Kizaru's foot had already landed on Zoro's stomach. Another injury made Zoro's body, which was already on the verge of collapse, no longer able to support it. The whole person collapsed to the ground. Unfortunately, it won't. Talking. Kizaru's feet landed on Zoro's chest. One foot lifted. A golden light shines. To give you my respect. The first person in the Straw Hat Pirates to die, I'll choose you. During the conversation, the ability of Sparkling Fruit is activated. It is also the first time that Kizaru uses the fruit ability to face the members of the Straw Hat Pirates. You picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. Tisk. Sometimes I really have to think about it. Isn't that considered an actor? Lin An, who was watching from the sidelines, shook his head. He didn't care too much about Zoro's life or death. Because Zoro can't die at all. Clang. Kizaru's foot stepped down. And step on it hard. This time, I really didn't hold back. But, Zoro is not dead. Kizaru's feet were blocked by a broadsword. Kizaru, long time no see. Oh. Kizaru looked at the person blocking his attack with a deliberately surprised expression. I just heard that you are in the Sabayati archipelago, but I didn't expect this rumor to be true. The person who appeared in front of Kizaru was none other than him. It was Rayleigh, nicknamed Pluton, the deputy captain of One Piece Gall D. Roger. Ha ha. Rayleigh laughed heartily. He couldn't believe that Marine really didn't know he was in Sabayati archipelago. Don't take the initiative to provoke. The main reason is that I don't want to get into trouble with him. After all, he didn't have the meaning and idea of breaking the world government rules. Now you know. Chapter 36 Rayleigh vs Kizaru, the best fight in the world. Advertise here. Chapter 36 Rayleigh vs Kizaru, the best fight in the world. Rayleigh looked at Kizaru in front of him. He has also heard about this junior. After all, this is one of Marine's current 3 strengths. The broadsword in his hand suddenly exerted force, directly overturning Kizaru. Seizing the timing, Rayleigh kicked Kizaru with one kick, sending Kizaru flying. So, do you still want to fight? Listen to Rayleigh. Kizaru shrugged. Rayleigh's kick just now seemed to make him very uncomfortable. However, it was only superficially embarrassed, and did not cause substantial harm to him. Pluton, Rayleigh, vice captain of One Piece. I really met an amazing person. During the conversation, Kizaru placed his right hand on top of his left palm. A sword composed entirely of light was drawn from his hand. Amazon Cloud Sword. You picked up a power. Close black lens bracket. To this. Lin An's eyes lit up while watching the scene. This is a great opportunity to grow stronger. The attributes dropped by Kizaru, who was released into the sea, and the Straw Hat Pirates, who are already almost exhausted, are not useless, but they can only be said to be poor in progress. It's different now. This is the vice captain of Marine Admiral against former One Piece Gall D. Roger. Excited, Lin An took a few steps forward. Then there is nothing to say. Seeing Kizaru like this, Rayleigh took a step forward. Very thoughtful to protect Zoro behind him. You old fellow, what are you doing when you don't stay where you should be for the elderly? Kizaru's voice sounded again. The fruit ability is fully stimulated by him. The figure has come to Rayleigh. I don't want to be an enemy of Marine either. Rayleigh smiled slightly. People are also one step forward. The broadsword in his hand was thrown out. A lightsaber, a broadsword. The 2 swords directly touched the position between the 2 of them. Just out for a walk. I didn't expect to meet you. You picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up an armament hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. The battle between the 2 can be described as fierce. Although it was just a match, Lin An directly picked up 2 attributes. Especially the devil fruit growth experience. Under Lin An's special perception, it was completely poured into the newly obtained sparkling fruit. The use of devil fruit is divided into 5 stages by Lin An. The first stage is when you just ate the devil fruit. This stage is called the taking stage by Lin An. The second stage is the stage of getting familiar with devil fruit. This stage is called the familiarization stage by Lin An. The third stage is the stage where you are completely familiar with devil fruit. This stage is called the free stage by Lin An. The fourth stage is to fully master the ability of devil fruit and be able to use the fruit ability to create the tricks you want according to your imagination. This stage is called the development stage by Lin An. The fifth stage is fruit awakening, completely igniting the full potential of devil fruit. The sparkling fruit is just the devil fruit that Lin An just picked up not long ago. Just using a copy of Kizaru's serious devil fruit growth experience, he went directly from the consumption stage to the third stage of freedom. It's really crazy power. In this regard, Lin An also sighed. These world-class people are really untouchable. If the dropped attributes can be used on others, just this bunch of attributes can create a supernova. Since it's just a walk. Kizaru looked at Rayleigh in front of him with a look of displeasure on his face. Then don't disturb other people's work. The two of them worked hard. The two sides spread out directly on both sides. Next second. They collided again at a speed that even Lin An could barely keep up with. It's just a blink of an eye. The two have already used their swords to fight dozens of times. You picked up an armament hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up a power. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Close black lens bracket. The two were having a good fight. Lin An, who followed Kizaru and Rayleigh, was even happier. The strength that had just barely reached the level of Admiral's strength moved quickly again. Strength, agility, armed color, knowledge color, all are growing. Bang. It's another trick. A stat drops on Rayleigh. Open black lens bracket. You picked up a copy of Conqueror's Hockey. Close black lens bracket. After hearing the sound of the system, Lin An's eyes lit up. This is a good thing. Conqueror's Hockey is not only a weapon that can kill fish quickly. Lin An even learned about the use of Conqueror's Winding, which is almost like opening and hanging, from the use of Whitebeard. Naturally, the more such things come, the better. Even, Lin An's desire for the attribute of Conqueror's Hockey exceeds the attribute of Devil Fruit's growth experience, which ranks the first and most desired attribute in Lin An's heart. After all, there are very few people who are eligible to own Conqueror's Hockey. And, there are still many qualified people who do not have access to hockey at all. This results in fewer Conqueror's Hockey owners. It is also impossible for Lin An to provoke the four emperors to obtain it. After all, although attributes are important, life is even more important. 8-foot Chong Guyu. Kizaru flew into the air. Countless lights condensed in front of him. Under his control, laser beams poured towards Rayleigh like raindrops. Well done. Open your mouth calmly. The broadsword in Rayleigh's hand was swiftly played by him. That raindrop-like laser was completely blocked by him. Hiss. See. Lin An gasped, as expected of the former vice captain of One Piece. This speed is really astonishing. Although it is said that Kizaru's own speed and the speed of attack moves cannot reach the speed of light because of the body's bearing. However, his speed is still the fastest Lin An has ever seen. Even at the Admiral level, it is not easy for him to keep up with Kizaru's speed. But Rayleigh was able to achieve this speed with his mortal body. Amazing. Admiration. Lin An moved again. You picked up an armament hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up a power. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Close black lens bracket. 5 or 6 attributes were absorbed by Lin An. Feel the change in your own strength. The smile on Lin An's face deepened even more. This moment, he is very satisfied, being able to fight at the scene of 2 top powerhouses in the world, and still have the cheat of picking attributes. Whether it is from the perspective of appreciation or the growth of personal strength, it is enough. You old guy, it's really not easy to deal with. Seeing that his 8-foot Chong Guyu was blocked. There was a look of helplessness in Kizaru's eyes. Rayleigh clearly wasn't using his full strength the way he was now. Although he also hides something, it should not be as much as Rayleigh. Chapter 37 Crazy Picking Up Attributes, Strength Soars. Advertise here. Chapter 37. Had Rayleigh been encountered elsewhere, Kizaru would have likely avoided it. But, the two may not be Rayleigh's opponents one-on-one in terms of their own strength. But this is the Sabayati Archipelago, near the naval headquarters, and he can call for backup at any time. Moreover, he also has the support of 20 warships and hundreds of pacifists. If it's a fight to the death, Kizaru is right. Rayleigh. Rayleigh. Talking. The golden light on Kizaru's hands gradually shone. The Tiankongan sword made of light in his hand became more solid at this moment. You have also been enjoying the sea for so long. It's time to take responsibility for past mistakes. The meaning of Kizaru is very obvious. He intends to capture Rayleigh. Rayleigh had a smile on his face. It's just an admiral, and it's not like he hasn't played before. Even Kizaru, who is the oldest in Marine, doesn't look down on him. If you want me to be responsible, it also depends on whether you have the ability. Talking. Rayleigh's body took a step forward. Kizaru on the opposite side is not too far behind. Holding the Tiankongan sword in his hand, he rushed towards Rayleigh. You picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up an armament hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. Amazing. Lin An, who picked up the attribute below, gave a sigh of admiration. It is indeed a battle of the world's top combat power. Really pleasing to the eye. Rayleigh's speed is really not covered. It can be compared with Kizaru with sparkling fruit. Hey, ha, Kizaru and Rayleigh quickly collided. After one move, the two backed away again. There is no qualitative gap between the strengths of the two sides. So they are testing each other. This made Lin An very angry. You picked up a point of power. Close black lens bracket. You picked up 1 point of agility. Close black lens bracket. You picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket you picked up. Close black lens bracket. Less than a minute, Lin An gained more than a dozen attributes again. Isn't this too scary? Sensing the change in her strength, Lin An showed a look of surprise on her face. The stat bonuses of Rayleigh and Kizaru are insane. In terms of quality alone, it is second only to the attributes dropped by Whitebeard and Kaido before. The point is, Kaido and Whitebeard only scratched the surface of each other. Whereas Rayleigh and Kizaru were really thinking about how to kill each other. At this time, I just picked up the attributes for a minute. Lin An's strength, which has just broken through to the Admiral level, has been stabilized. There is a vague meaning of a mid-term sprint to Admiral. Let's hit. Feel the change in your own strength. A smile appeared on Lin An's face. Eyes on Rayleigh and Kizaru. It's better to fight more intensely. While Kizaru and Rayleigh were fighting, the Straw Hat Pirates took advantage of this opportunity to get together again. Watching the fighting power of Kizaru and Rayleigh like a fight between gods. Luffy was no longer as heartless as usual, with nervousness written all over his face. While Marine is stopped by someone, let's go. Others nodded one after another. Lifting Zoro, who was already unable to even move, was about to leave. Want to run. Sentomaru, who was watching the battle, has been paying attention to Luffy and others. This operation is mainly to save face for the Celestial Dragons. The bigger the incident, the happier Celestial Dragons was, and the beating matter naturally disappeared. But, the main suspects who caused this incident, Luffy and his gang, they still want to catch them as much as possible. After all, no words from Luffy, nor will they have this task. This kind of thing will definitely slow down the progress when Marine is going to have a big event. This is something Marine can't stand. Pacifist. Give me Luffy them. Following Zon Taowen's voice fell. Originally because of Kizaru's appearance, the three pacifists who stood still began to move towards the direction of the Straw Hat Pirates. During this time, 2 more pacifists completed the mission and returned to Sentomaru. In addition to the 3 units that were originally beside Zon Taowen. At this time, the number of pacifists has reached 5. You picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up an armament hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up a power. Close black lens bracket. You picked up a piece of Conqueror's hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket you picked up. Close black lens bracket. The other side, Lin An is frantically picking up attributes. Kizaru and Rayleigh were fighting each other with hundreds of moves. This kind of Admiral peak, even if it reaches the level of 4 emperors, although it can't be reached, every move will have an attribute drop. But these hundreds of tricks came down. Lin An still saw dozens of attributes. Moreover, most of them are similar to Conqueror's Hockey's sentiment, Devil Fruit's growth experience, a rare attribute. It can be said, Lin An's strength has been greatly enhanced here. Comfortable. Lin An sighed in admiration. There was a happy expression on his face. This kind of growth rate, which is almost like taking a train, has not been experienced since Lin An reached the level of Vice Admiral. One's own strength is accumulated bit by bit and coupled with hard work. Did not expect. Things that didn't happen at lower levels. On the contrary, when you reach a high level, you will get a chance to improve quickly. Definitely. I have traveled here for 3 years. The attributes that I saw in the past 3 years are added together. Is it possible to pick up more attributes in 5 minutes? Watch Kizaru and Rayleigh fighting in midair. Lin An picked up the 2 clusters of attributes that fell on the ground again. You picked up a Devil Fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up a piece of Conqueror's Hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. These 2 guys. It's really too strong. This kind of battle between the world's top powerhouses is not common. It's not easy to get them together, let alone fight to the death. Think here. Lin An turned to look at Luffy. This kid might be able to take advantage of it. At least someone should be sent to watch over it. What happened around him was definitely not simple. It is a rapid catalyst for the growth of one's own strength. Very scary. At this time, Kizaru and Rayleigh separated again. Rayleigh remained unscathed. Kizaru's shoulder was cut open. Unfortunately, although with armament hockey blessing. But Kizaru has already mastered the use of sparkling fruit. Before Rayleigh's sword fell, he actively torn a part of his shoulder. As expected of you, the gap in the shoulder was gradually filled with yellow light. Kizaru's body was back to normal again. After some fighting, Kizaru was slightly inferior. Chapter 38 Broken, Found. Advertise here. Chapter 38 is broken and found. But it's only slightly inferior. It's almost impossible for Rayleigh to kill Kizaru. After all, if Kizaru's speed wants to run above the entire sea, I am afraid that no one can catch it. Looking at Kizaru's expressionless face, Rayleigh asked tentatively, since I'm afraid. Then why don't you let it go? Don't want to fight? Kizaru looked at Rayleigh in front of him. There was also a thoughtful expression in his eyes. Now Marine is plotting against the Whitebeard Pirates. It's not a good thing to have a fight with Rayleigh right now. But there was a gleam in Kizaru's eyes. The whole body exudes endless golden light. It's not up to you. Sparkling fruit was completely inspired by Kizaru at this moment. At this moment, the whole body seemed to turn into a golden light. At this time, Kizaru moved. The speed is several times faster than before. Clang. But that's how fast it is. It was still detected by Rayleigh. The broadsword in his hand directly blocked Kizaru's attack. On the broadsword, there is an indescribable charm in it vaguely. Tisk. To this, Kizaru clicked his tongue, as Conqueror's Haki winding. It seems that I can also make you use all your strength. You picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up an armament Haki perception experience. Close black lens bracket. Lin An on the side picked up the attribute dropped by Kizaru. The figure also moved quickly, picking up the attributes dropped by Rayleigh. You picked up a piece of Conqueror's Haki perception experience. Close black lens bracket. Feel the changes in your Conqueror's Haki. Lin An unconsciously showed a smile at the corner of his mouth. After picking up attributes around Kizaru and Rayleigh for a while, Lin An's strength has grown rapidly. The speed that Kizaru and Rayleigh could barely keep up with the naked eye could easily keep up now. Lin An's movements were fast. Sentomaru, who was watching the battle between Rayleigh and Kizaru closely, showed surprise in his eyes. His brows were tightened at this moment. This sea soldier, why do you feel something is wrong? Why do you always go to the old man and Rayleigh? There was a doubt in my heart. Able to keep pace with Kizaru and Rayleigh. Although it was only a hindsight, it was able to accurately land on the position where the two left after the battle. This is definitely not ordinary people. An answer emerged in Zon Taowen's heart. Pirates are undercover agents of the Revolutionary Army in Marine. Or, is it someone passing by to join in the fun? At this time, Zon Taowen had completely doubted Lin An's identity. Now, he doesn't have to guess. Go straight to commanding the pacifists. The Wutai pacifists who were besieging the Straw Hat Pirates were transferred back to their side. At this time, everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates had only one breath left. You can grab it anytime you want. Compare to, it would be even more dangerous if there were traitors among the Marines. Pacifists, investigate the surrounding Marines. Soon, the pacifists start scanning the surrounding Marine. The South Blue Pirate murderer Jason was detected, and the bounty is 76 million. North Blue Pirate sister Maria has been detected, and a bounty of 63 million is offered. Detected. Good guy. If you don't test, you don't know. Once you test, you will be shocked. There are many pirates or other wanted criminals hidden in the surrounding Marine. Breaking 10 million, and even offering a bounty close to 100 million, that is to say, there are people at the supernova level. Oh shit. There was a curse in his mouth. Zon Taowen was also a little speechless. Sabayati Archipelago is just too messy. It is not unimaginable that a pirate can get the Marine uniform. Plus this Sabayati Archipelago mess. These people were afraid that they were going to sneak into the Marine and take the opportunity to escape. Detected the vice captain of the Whitebeard Pirates' 4th team, titled Pirate Instructor, Lin An, with a bounty of 1.37 billion. Just at this time, the voice of a pacifist directly reached the ears of nearly 90% of the people present. And the direction scanned by this pacifist is the direction where Lin An is. I knew this guy was not simple. The Whitebeard Pirates have always been Marines' focus. Especially after Blackbeard dedicates Ace to Marine, and Marine HQ has already made the case against the Whitebeard Pirates. The captain and deputy captain are the most important. What's more, it has been brilliant recently, and even captured the drought disaster, Jack, one of the 3 disasters of Beast's pirates, so that Marine raised Lin An's reward from the original 76 million to the current 1.37 billion. This is already a bounty at the level of the Emperor's deputy. Lin An showed a dazed expression after being discovered. His eyes just met the pacifist, and his face was speechless. Why? His sigh was not his own discovery. It's because after being discovered, it's no longer possible for him to safely pick up the attributes dropped by Kizaru and Rayleigh when they fought. What a troublesome machine. If I knew it earlier, I would have found a chance to destroy you. At this point, Lin An directly tore off the Marine uniform on his body. Reveal casual clothing underneath. At this moment, the line of sight shifted to Zon Taowen, Has my bounty reached 1.37 billion? When did it happen? The moment you captured Jack alive. Your title was also changed the moment you became Whitebeard Pirates instructor. Zon Taowen gave Lin An the answer, and even kindly told Lin An the origin of his title. At this moment, he couldn't stay calm either. The person in front of him is someone who can capture Jack alive, and his strength is at least at the level of the Emperor's deputy. This is no longer an opponent that the pacifists can handle. Keep your hands by your side. He directly picked up the big axe that was about the same size as his body. Sentomaru is the chief bodyguard protecting Vegapunk. To be able to sit in this position, his strength is beyond doubt, and he also has the rank of Emperor's deputy. Although I don't know how you got here. However, since you're here, don't leave. Talking. Zon Taowen took a step forward. He didn't know Lin An's specific strength. After all, he is the vice captain of the Whitebeard Pirates. Even the person who was given the title of Whitebeard Pirates instructor by Whitebeard. A person who can be recognized by the forces that Whitebeard, or even the entire Whitebeard pirate group can influence, is definitely not a weak person. But, he's not bad either. In terms of experience, Vegapunk's chief bodyguard is no worse than the Whitebeard Pirates instructor. It just so happens that we have one more chip in hand. Chapter 39 Instant Kill, Admiral's Strength. Advertise here. Chapter 39 Spike, Admiral's Strength. Another chip. What does it mean? Hearing Zon Taowen's words, Lin An's eyes showed a hint of doubt. 1.3 billion rewards. By the vice captain of the Whitebeard Pirates. Hearing what the pacifists said, the Marines were stunned. The body spreads out unconsciously. The bounty does not necessarily represent strength. After all, there are Shichibukai, political prisoners, and the Revolutionary Army. Some of them offer high bounties because they are more threatening to the world government, and some of them are because they have joined the world government. The bounty will not be there. Rise. But the 1.37 billion bounty in the Whitebeard pirate group must represent a very strong one. Pirate instructor. Is it the reward order issued by the special notice before? For a while, there was a lot of discussion among the Marines. Whitebeard Pirates. The other side. Because of the appearance of Lin An, the Straw Hat Pirates, who caused the pacifists to be withdrawn, also relaxed. Luffy looked in Lin An's direction with anticipation in his eyes. Ace's friend. This moment. Because of Luffy's reminder, the rest of the Straw Hat Pirates also thought of the reliable and powerful Big Brother. Wow. There was a golden light in Nami's eyes. There was hope again in the already desperate eyes. Ace is only a bounty of 550 million. How strong is this person named Lin An with 1.37 billion? Zoro, Sanji, and the rest of the Straw Hat Pirates also showed expressions of being saved. Usopp is even more outrageous. He jumped up and waved at Lin An. Brother Lin An, we are here. Hearing Usopp's voice, Lin An looked along the source of the voice. The two looked at each other. Usopp's eyes showed a happy expression. Ace, do you recognize Ace? That's our captain's elder brother, who has drunk the sworn wine and is as close as blood. Usopp started to befriend Lin An. Brother Lin An, can you help us? Can you help me? Listening to Usopp's words, Lin An nodded. Since it's Ace's younger brother and someone he knows. It's not impossible to help you. My crew is also nearby. I can contact them later to take you out of Sabayati Archipelago. Hearing Lin An's words, Usopp was so moved that he covered his face and cried bitterly. As expected of Ace's friend. Very good. If you want to help others, you should first see if you have the ability, right? At this time, Zon Taowen, holding a tomahawk, had already arrived at Lin An's side. Fortunately, the bounty of 1.3 billion and the name of the instructor of the Whitebeard Pirates frightened the Marines. At this time, there was no one else around Lin An. It didn't take too much effort to get Zon Taowen to come to Lin An. Behind him are Wadai pacifists. Do it. There is no nonsense in Zon Taowen. He and Wadai pacifists had just arrived near Lin An. Then do it directly. Following the order of Zon Taowen. The pacifists have already set their hands on Lin An. Golden lasers appeared from the hands of Wadai pacifists. Boom. Wadai pacifist. 10 arms. 10 lasers rushed directly towards Lin An. If you ask me if I have the ability. Lin An spoke calmly. Black armament hockey has been covered on the hands. After absorbing Rayleigh and Kizaru's armament hockey. He has learned armament hockey winding. In the armament hockey covering the hands, void cracks visible to the naked eye appeared around. Junjun, the sky collapses. With Lin An punching out. Directly smash the 10 laser beams in front of you. Tisk. Seeing this situation, Sentomaru clicked his tongue secretly. Is it the lower fruit of shock fruit? And I still have Whitebeard personally coaching. This ability is really difficult to deal with. Although Lin An only made a superficial move, Zon Taowen already felt the pressure. Armament hockey winding. Similar to shock fruit's abilities. Each of these two powers is a headache to take out alone. Now it's gathered in one person. No long-range attack. Then close combat is fine. Next second, Zon Taowen has changed its strategy. The 5 pacifists directly turned off the laser transmitters. 5 behemoths with a height of nearly 7 meters rushed towards Lin An at an extremely fast speed. It's bulky, but it's still a robot. But their cooperation is intimate. There is no disorder. The 5 people staggered their positions. 5 huge arms have swung towards Lin An. If you can't hit from a long range, do you think that melee combat will be effective? There was a murderous look in Lin An's eyes. Clenched right hand. The energy of one after another shock fruit is directly contained in the right fist. Junjun, Pojun, accompanied by the name of Lin An's tricks. Lin An's right fist was printed directly on the fist of a pacifist. This moment, the shock fruit energy contained in the fist poured into the pacifist's body like crazy. Z. Boom. Next second, the pacifists exploded directly. The huge explosive power even caused the 4 pacifists next to him to blow back directly. The land of more than 20 meters around the place where Lin An was standing was directly swallowed. 1. Blow up a pacifist with one punch. In such a situation, Luffy, who was watching the match, was dumbfounded. The other members of the Straw Hat Pirates had similar expressions. Unlike Luffy, their jaws aren't rubber, so they can't just drop to the ground. Is peace so fragile? Am I dreaming? Usopp reached out and put his hand on Chopper. Ah, Chopper was in pain. The whole person jumped up directly. He looked at Usopp with slight displeasure. Usopp, what are you doing? Sorry. Usopp apologized directly. I'm just testing to see if I'm dreaming. The pacifist gathered our entire Straw Hat Pirates to barely blow it up. He actually exploded one with one punch. It's actually very simple. After dealing with the pacifists, Lin An turned his attention to the Straw Hat Pirates. The armor material of this pacifist is really powerful. However, if you learn the words of armament hockey, if you use armament hockey to fight, it will be no different from ordinary steel. Easy to say. Straw Hat crew was speechless. Ordinary steel is not something that people can blow up with a single punch. Chapter 40 Capture Sentomaru alive, Kizaru stops. Advertise here. Chapter 40 Capture Sentomaru alive, Kizaru stops. Luffy and others looked at the remains of the pacifist. Not even a fist-sized fragment. This is obviously not just the role of armament hockey. Pervert, it's just pervert. Usopp gave an evaluation that didn't sound very good, but clearly described Lin An's performance today. Gen. But, at this time, Lin An obviously couldn't hear it anymore. His right fist was raised again. The whole body moves forward quickly. People have come to the second pacifist. Breaking the military. Shout out with the voice. Lin An's men have gone straight through the bodies of the pacifists. Another pacifist with one punch. How can it be so strong? Zon Taowen at the side was a little dumbfounded. This power is no longer just at the level of the Emperor's deputy. Already reached the Admiral level. To this, Zon Taowen also became serious. The battle axe in the hand is directly painted with armament hockey. Look at the axe. The figure shakes. Although Sentomaru is said to be big enough to be a professional sumo wrestler. But his speed is surprisingly fast. The body is also full of agility. But, when the tomahawk was about to hit Lin An's figure has disappeared. Boom. Next second, there was an explosion. The third pacifist is also completely scrapped. One punch at a time. When Lin An deals with Marine's latest combat weapon, it's as simple as eating and drinking. Damn it. Looking in the direction where Lin An is. Gritting his teeth, Zon Taowen rushed forward again. The tomahawk in his hand was completely covered by armament hockey at this moment. There are even some Uzumaki looming on it. It is the high-level use method of armament hockey winding. Die to Laozi. Next second, Zon Taowen's battle axe sank deeply into the soil. The huge force directly opened a big pit with a radius of 5 meters on the ground. But Lin An was nowhere to be seen. Boom. Boom. At this time, 2 more roars sounded. Wait until Zon Taowen comes out of the pit. The Wutai pacifists who were originally standing by his side have been completely destroyed. Lin An was standing leisurely outside the pit waiting for him. There was anger in his eyes. Pacifists don't come cheap. Although he has the authority to control, he also shoulders the responsibility of peaceful people to pay attention to the damage. You bastard. Don't rush. Seeing Zon Taowen's angry appearance, Lin An let go of her hand. Throw away the heads of the 2 pacifists and walk slowly towards Zon Taowen. Isn't it your turn now? Very good. Listening to Lin An's words, Zon Taowen's eyes showed a hint of madness. Lin An is the Whitebeard Pirates instructor. Catching him would give Marine one more bargaining chip against the Whitebeard Pirates. This credit is enough to offset his failure to lose 7 pacifists. Zon Taowen admits that he is far behind Lin An in terms of speed. But he doesn't think so in terms of combat effectiveness. Like sumo wrestlers, he has extremely high defense and attack power. As long as Lin An doesn't run away, then he was not so afraid that Lin An would really promise him. Then, come on. During the conversation, Zon Taowen opened his posture. The anger on his face gradually calmed down. Good. Listening to Zon Taowen's words, Lin An nodded. Under the shaking of the figure, the person has come to Zon Taowen. The right hand is covered with the extremely strong armament hockey. The energy of shock fruit is also contained in it. Junjun, Pojun, walk alone. The fists of the two collided directly in midair. For a while, the two sides were deadlocked in place. Vaguely, Zontaowen actually had some advantage in terms of strength. Great, I bet right. To this, Zontaowen's eyes lit up. Man cannot be a hexagonal warrior. If Lin An is faster in speed, then he must be weaker in strength. Obviously, he guessed right. At least, Lin An's power is weaker than him. If you want to blame you for not making good use of your speed and wanting to confront me head on. I haven't tried my best yet, this time I won. Oh. Is it? Feeling the power gradually coming from his right arm, Lin An showed neither salty nor weak. No anxiety or panic. You picked up a point of power. Close black lens bracket. This move of Sentomaru is also an advanced use method of armament hockey. Can attack its own armament hockey outside the body. This power combined with Sentomaru's own power, indeed defeated him. But, Lin An didn't just use physical strength. So. I hope you can be so calm next second. Following Lin An's voice fell. The shock fruit energy stored in Lin An's body poured into Zontaowen's body directly through the fists of the two colliding. For a moment. The shock force of shock fruit directly reached Zontaowen's body. No matter how much physical exercise is done, it will only exercise the surface of the body, even if it is as strong as Zontaowen. The power of this vibration directly acted on Zontaowen's body under Lin An's control. In an instant, the severe pain directly destroyed Zontaomaru's fighting spirit. Not long. People have fallen directly to the ground. You are already doing well. Walk slowly to the place where Zontaowen fell to the ground. Lin An briefly recalled the opponents he has experienced over the years. If your opponent is Jack, maybe you really can beat him. But it's a pity. Your opponent is me, talking. Lin An stood directly on Zontaowen's body. Zontaowen has become his hostage at this moment. Damn it. At this time, the shock force gradually dissipated. Zontaowen also woke up. You dare to resist and get Lin An off his body. Lin An punched again, hitting Zontaowen directly on the back. Pain spread throughout the body again. This time, it directly made Zontaowen completely lose the ability to resist. The pain has already taken away all his strength. Now Zontaowen can only lie on the ground and moan in pain, unable to do any other reactions. This kid. Far away. Kizaru, who had been fighting Rayleigh, glanced out of the corner of his eye because of Sentomaru's roar. At this glance, Kizaru was not calm anymore, and Zontaowen was almost beaten to death by Lin An. Sentomaru is his nephew, and he can't care about Rayleigh at this time. After dealing with a few tricks again, he parried Rayleigh's broadsword and walked away from Rayleigh. This time, his eyes were on Lin An. Pirate instructor, Lin An. Vice Captain of the Whitebeard Pirates. Chapter 41 is Kizaru stable? Advertise here. Chapter 41 is Kizaru stable? Kizaru is a little messy. When the Pacifist detected Lin An just now, he didn't know it. However, he is very aware of Zontaowen's strength. Being Vegapunk's chief bodyguard says it all. Just a vice captain, even if Whitebeard is optimistic about it, it's just a vice captain after all. Zontaomaru's strength makes him absolutely no problem even facing the captain of the Whitebeard Pirates. But, it is such a person that Kizaru trusted, who was still instantly killed when facing Lin An. You bastard. Something interesting. At this time, Kizaru has stopped paying attention to Rayleigh. As Kizaru Admiral going to make a move. Kizaru's actions have excited the surrounding Marines. Especially those Marines who followed Kizaru. The 6 Supernovas are almost 1 foot at a time. This combat power is enough to make anyone feel at ease. Surrender quickly. Admiral is doing you a favor by personally attacking you. Even. Someone has already started to provoke Lin An. Our Marines are not like your pirates who are life and death. If you surrender, at least your life will be guaranteed. If you continue to resist, hee. Listen to the Marines. Lin An glanced at their direction. This sentence is true. Whether it is the pirates who endangered the world on the 6th floor of Impel Down, or even the Golden Lion who almost killed One Piece King Gall D. Roger, they were only imprisoned and did not kill each other. But, do I need to surrender to save my life? Is it Lin An from the Whitebeard Pirates? At this time, Rayleigh, who was left aside by Kizaru, also muttered silently. Although he has retired, the power he possesses is not weak. The intelligence of the New World is the most important link for any force, and the 4 emperors are the top priority. Of course Lin An knew about it. Although he was taught by that old Whitebeard himself, he is still too young. If you want to fight Kizaru, even Margaret can only do it as a block instead of a counterattack. Let alone Lin An. For Lin An, Rayleigh is not optimistic about one word. But, he also believes that people who can be favored by Whitebeard must have their own uniqueness. The most important thing now is to help the Straw Hat Pirates out of danger. He glanced at Lin An's direction, especially Zontaowen, who was stepped on by Lin An. I hope you can hold out for a while longer. Talking. Rayleigh no longer cared about Kizaru, and went in the direction of Luffy and others. Kizaru looked at Lin An and said calmly, little guy. The person you are stepping on is my nephew. Can you please let him go? Oh, listening to Kizaru's words, Lin An's eyes were filled with surprise. This is something he doesn't know. From the corner of his eye, he glanced at Zontawan under his feet, and the corner of his mouth curled up. If I didn't know this, I might temporarily give up the subdued enemy because I want to fight Admiral. But you have now told me about it. Do you think I could be foolish enough to let a relative of Admiral go? Lin An grabbed Zontawan's neck directly with his hand, grabbed it from the ground and blocked it in front of him. If I negotiated a deal with you now, you would be very happy, wouldn't you? Seeing Lin An like this, Kizaru scratched his head with a slight headache, a hostage. However, I don't seem to have anything that you can appreciate. Lin An directly denied Kizaru's words. How can you say no? Just let us go. But, next second, Kizaru has rushed to Lin An. Hands turned into golden light. It directly bypassed Zontawan at an extremely fast speed, and stabbed directly at Lin An's heart. Tisk. With such a killer move, Lin An clicked his tongue. The only option is to give up the hostage Zontawan and retreat quickly. Very good. Kizaru directly forced Lin An back as soon as he made a shot, which made the surrounding Marines even more excited. As expected of Admiral, weren't you quite arrogant just now? Now you are so crazy. The Marines, who were a little stunned by Lin An's almost instant killing of the Wadai Pacifists and Zontawan, stood up at this time. Looking in the direction of Lin An, he straightened his back. Self-confidence came up all at once. Whitebeard Pirates instructor. That's all. In response, Lin An did not reply. He was also careless. When I just watched the game and picked up Kizaru against Rayleigh, my eyes could easily follow Kizaru's speed. But forgetting that there is a difference between eye catching up and body adapting. But, this does not mean that Lin An has nothing to do with Kizaru. The speed bonus of sparkling fruit is really scary. But, didn't he have it too? Thank you, old man. After Zontawan was rescued, he supported his injured body after being shaken by the power of shock fruit and walked aside. He had already been beaten by Lin An, and he was terrified. Master, be careful, this guy's strength is extraordinary. Kizaru nodded. Of course he knew, after all, he was the one who could win Zontawan. But, so what? You step aside first. It's up to me to solve it here. Focus on Lin An. Kizaru's expression became extremely exaggerated. Whitebeard Pirates instructor. What a scary person. Talking terrible, but anyone could see Kizaru's carelessness. Am I being underestimated? Lin An touched his nose. Kizaru's performance today is exactly the same as his performance against the previous supernova. It seems. It was just that his carelessness was underestimated by him. I also think I'm a terrible person. Speak calmly. Lin An glanced at Rayleigh's direction from the corner of his eye. At this time, he was already transferring Luffy and others. On the fists, the black and purple armament hockey wrapping has been used. I just don't know if you can see enough. PFF'd. Killing me. Hear Lin An's provocation. Before Kizaru had time to say anything, the Marines next to him were already covering their bellies and laughing. Just you. Kizaru is the most powerful Marine, Admiral. Even the oldest of the Marine Admirals. They have no way of knowing who is stronger and who is weaker among the three Admirals, but older age must mean more combat experience. They didn't believe that Lin An had the ability to defeat or even parry Kizaru. Especially after Kizaru snatched Sentomaru back with one move just now. It's better to surrender directly than to be brave. In this way, everyone can have something to talk about with each other. Chapter 42. Lin An surprises everywhere. Advertise here. Chapter 42. Lin An surprises everywhere. Otherwise, after you finish bragging now, you will have nothing to say when you are caught. Ridicule. And it's extremely high-end sarcasm. There is not a single dirty word in the whole article, but it is disgusting. Regarding this, Lin An also followed the voice. A man about 1.5 meters tall with a mole the size of a fingernail on his chin was looking at him with disdain. As the saying goes, faces come from the heart. It's you who said this, so it's understandable. What do you mean by that? The big mole Marine raised her eyebrows and looked at Lin An provocatively. Are you hurt by what I said? Nausea. This guy's words are disgusting to the extreme. Since it's disgusting, then get rid of it. I thought about it. The figure has moved. Lin An's speed has reached ultimate. In an instant, he had already arrived in front of the big mole Marine. The fist wrapped around armament hockey fell straight down. Boom. There was a muffled sound. Lin An's fist was blocked by a leg. If my subordinates have any problems, you can come to me directly. Kizaru's voice came out, under the sign of his eyes. The big mole Marine, who was almost scared to pee, and the sailors around him immediately scattered and fled. For this big mole Marine, Kizaru nodded in satisfaction. At least, the taunting power was fully drawn, even stronger than him in terms of taunting ability alone. In a battle of the same level, the slightest loss is worth 1,000 miles. If it can affect the other party's reason. So that's a very good tactic. The reason why he owes so much is also based on this principle, coupled with the experience he has summed up over the years. Or, do you really think so? It should be said that you are worthy of being companions. Lin An withdrew his fist. The figure stepped back a few steps and separated a few body distances from Kizaru. Out of the corner of his eye, he glanced in the direction of the big mole marine. This time, regardless of the battle with Kizaru, he will take the marine's life. Let's talk about normal topics now. Do you really want to catch me? That's natural. Kizaru nodded. Compared with the Straw Hat Pirates who just defended the Celestial Dragons, what Marine needs most now is to be able to handle Whitebeard's hand. Ace, indeed, could pull Whitebeard out of the New World. But it wasn't enough to make Whitebeard surrender, or at least make him cringe. You're Whitebeard's focus. Whitebeard's successor would be an understatement. It will be very interesting if you can be caught. One step forward. Kizaru's arms turned golden yellow at this moment. Sparkling fruit starts directly. Oh, I'm just a co-captain of a little Whitebeard pirate ship. Is it so fancy to you? Lin An's right hand is directly armed with full coverage, and the same is extended forward. Bang! The fists of the two had already collided. For a while, dashes of brilliance emerged from the touching arms of the two sides. For a while, they were deadlocked in place. Oh. Kizaru looked at Lin An with surprise on his face. I didn't expect that you still have some skills. Hehe. You picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up an armament hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. Picked up the attributes dropped by Kizaru. Feeling the changes in the strength of her body, Lin An was not very satisfied. Theoretically speaking, if you play in person, the attributes you get must be stronger than those dropped by others in battle. However, the attributes obtained in the battle between himself and Kizaru are not at all as strong as when Kizaru and Rayleigh fought. This also means that Kizaru is not serious at all. No, if you test each other like this, it is impossible to gain too much power. If you want to become stronger, you must stimulate Kizaru well. Thinking of this, Lin An looked at Kizaru with a sneer and sneered. Admiral is nothing more than that. As Kizaru who likes to use aggressiveness and taunting as a tactic. Lin An's words were really indifferent to him. Pointing in the direction of Lin An. A golden cross laser converged on Kizaru's hand. Indeed, Admiral is nothing special. Kizaru responds to Lin An's ridicule. However, the laser condensed from his hand didn't mean he didn't care. Sparkle. Light. Read out the name of the move as Kizaru says it. The laser has already come out of his hands, and it's hitting Lin An's head. Still don't want to get serious. Looking at Kizaru's laser, Lin An shook his head. In that case, then I'll show off my strength first. I saw that Lin An's whole body was instantly dyed black and purple. A vortex winding invisible to the naked eye. Lin An uses armament hockey, which can be said to be the world's highest level of full body coverage plus armed color wrapping. Boom. There was a crisp sound as if a bubble burst. Because the armament hockey entanglement can temporarily leave the relationship between armament hockey and the body surface. Kizaru's laser can't even get close to Lin An's body for 1 meter. How come? In such a situation, all the surrounding onlookers were dumbfounded by looking directly. How can there be such a strong armament hockey? Armed color full coverage Kizaru seen. Armed color winding Kizaru also seen. Kizaru has also seen people who make armed chromosome attack or defense. And they are the top ones. However, people who can make the armed color entangled 1 meter away from the body, and can maintain it for a long time. Lin An was the first. That's natural. Lin An smiled slightly. You know, Lin An is the armament hockey who collected the entire Whitebeard Pirates. Followed by Kaido, Kizaru, Rayleigh and countless other top players such as armament hockey. This is how armament hockey is today. If the armament hockey experience of so many masters cannot reach this level, then Lin An's more than 3 years was really a waste of time. If you are afraid, I can spare your life if you surrender now. Lin An continued to stimulate Kizaru with words. You know, I'm the instructor of the Whitebeard Pirates. You are not ashamed to be defeated by me. Blow you. At this time, Kizaru has not spoken yet. The big mole on the side, Marine, taunted again. But it is. This time, Lin An didn't want to let the big mole Marine finish talking. The whole body is directly elementalized. A golden spot of light gradually disappeared in front of Kizaru. This is. Kizaru was taken aback by this familiar ability. No, everyone be careful. Chapter 43 How is it possible? 2 sparkling fruits. Advertise here. Chapter 43 How is it possible? 2 sparkling fruits. At this moment Kizaru was completely panicked. Not because of anything else, but because of the ability Lin An just used. The ability that he has used for most of his life and is famous for. Logia Devil Fruit, Sparkling Fruit. For a moment, Kizaru directly displayed the strongest sparkling fruit. The whole person's speed has reached ultimate. Pity. Still a step late, Lin An has come to the big mole Marine. A light flashed. The big mole Marine has been killed by Lin An. To this, Kizaru glanced at the big mole Marine. Now is not the time to pursue the deaths of your subordinates. Instead, ask about Lin An's ability. You guy, just use the ability of sparkling fruit. Although it is said that Lin An's fruit ability is much worse than his own. But that's just a matter of proficiency, but the fruit ability is real. You guess. Listening to Kizaru's question, looking at Kizaru's tense face. In a hurry, he is in a hurry. This is the effect Lin An wants, to force Kizaru to be serious, and then use this to harvest Kizaru's attributes. Lin An's strength has reached a very high level, and if he wants to continue to grow rapidly, the attributes dropped by ordinary people are no longer enough. Although there will be growth, but the speed is really not flattering. Admiral, and Kizaru's attributes are very good for Lin An. This is why Lin An frequently provokes Kizaru. Lin An doesn't want to defeat Kizaru, or simply defeat Kizaru, he also wants to use Kizaru's hand to become stronger again. This is why Lin An still chooses sparkling fruit even though he is more proficient in shock fruit. Stimulating Kizaru, forcing Kizaru to be completely serious, even the first thought was not to avoid danger. Just like when facing Jack before. If you can beat me, I can tell you why. Good. You laid the groundwork for so long, didn't you just want me to fight you seriously? After a brief panic, Kizaru calmed down. Lin An's performance was indeed beyond his expectations. Especially the appearance of the second sparkling fruit made Kizaru completely serious. Lin An's words naturally couldn't really stimulate Kizaru. But the plan to force him to get serious apparently succeeded. The left hand is spread out, and the right fist is placed on the left hand and slowly twitched. As the distance grew, a sword shining with golden light appeared in Kizaru's hand. Amazon Cloud Sword. At this time, Lin An and Kizaru basically did the copy and paste action. The same lightsaber appeared in his hand. Amazon Cloud Sword. How come? See. Luffy was dumbfounded. Two of the same abilities. Could it be that the two of them are the same fruit? Impossible. For Luffy's answer, Sanji, who is most familiar with Devil Fruit among the Straw Hat Pirates, directly denied it. He has seen the Devil Fruit illustrated book, and he has also learned about Devil Fruit in the Vinsmoke family system. There are no two identical Devil Fruits in this world. There is a high probability that it is a Devil Fruit of the same type. The reason why Lin An deliberately learned Kizaru's tricks is to stimulate Kizaru. No. To this, Rayleigh on the side shook his head directly. Rayleigh looked in Lin An's direction and frowned. He also couldn't figure out what was going on with the sparkling fruit that Lin An was displaying now. Although I don't understand why Lin An also has sparkling fruit. But I can tell you one thing, that is, Lin An is indeed using sparkling fruit. How is it possible? Sanji looked at Rayleigh and frowned. You are the vice captain of One Piece, don't you even know the natural laws of Devil Fruit? Ah, Rayleigh sneered when the junior secretly expressed his lack of culture. The eyes of the elders looking at the younger fell on Sanji. If only naturally formed Devil Fruit did. However, there are still Devil Fruits that are not naturally formed in the current world. Ah, Sanji was dumbfounded. This time, he didn't dare to answer any more, and looked at Rayleigh quietly. In this case, Rayleigh withdrew his gaze and looked in Lin An's direction again. The Devil Fruit used by Lin An is definitely sparkling fruit. It can be seen from Kizaru's performance. Sparkling fruit has been with him for most of his life, even if there is a slight difference, he can feel it. So, there is only one possibility. Having said that, Rayleigh paused for a moment. His brows were furrowed, and there was a look of seriousness in his eyes. A few years ago I heard that Vegapunk had studied Devil Fruit, and the plan seemed to be to create artificial Devil Fruit. It's just that he gave up later, and the research results were taken by a kid named Geisa. Now it seems, Vegapunk is successful, but this research is really not challenging for him, so he gave up. Vegapunk. Sanji muttered to himself. Frankie on the side also had the same surprised face. As for the rest of the Straw Hat Pirates, they are not in the situation at all. If it's about him, then it's normal. Vegapunk. The greatest scientist in the world is said to be 500 years ahead of the world in technology. The most precious person in the world government. If any incredible thing is related to Vegapunk, then everyone will not find it incredible. This is Vegapunk, a person who is mysterious and makes people doubt themselves. Dr. Vegapunk's invention. At the same time, the Marines on the other end were completely at a loss. On the contrary, Zon Taowen was lost in thought. As Vegapunk's chief bodyguard, he has been with Vegapunk in the experiment of Vegapunk's artificial Devil Fruit. Rayleigh's guess is also largely correct. But, the crux of the matter is that Vegapunk did not continue to delve into man-made Devil Fruit. As for artificial sparkling fruit, it is even more impossible. There was a hint of thought in his eyes. Zon Taowen thought of the funny person who owned gas fruit. Could it be that guy succeeded in stealing part of Dr. Vegapunk's information? But even if Guy did it, can he cooperate with the Whitebeard Pirates? Sentomaru's speculation doesn't mean that Guy won't work with Whitebeard. It means that it is impossible for the Whitebeard Pirates to admit that Guy is such a disgusting person. You picked up a Devil Fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up an armament hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. A group of people are hesitating and guessing. Lin An and Kizaru's Tiankongyan sword collided in midair. Chapter 44 Lin An won. It's hard to win. Advertise here. Chapter 44 Lin An won. It's hard to win. Both sides are sparkling fruit. The speed is almost invisible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of moves have already been made. Good boy, isn't it a good use of the fruit ability? At this time, the two held the Tiankongan sword again and stood in a stalemate in the middle. Kizaru looked at Lin An in front of him, with deeper doubts in his eyes. The use of sparkling fruit is extremely difficult. Fast speed is indeed a good means of attack, but it takes a lot of time and effort to adapt to this speed and use it in battle. You picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. You have picked up an observation hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up a point of power. Close black lens bracket. Compared to Kizaru Admiral, it's still a bit worse. Lin An's reply is also very realistic. The Tiankongan sword in his hand waved again. Strength, speed, observation hockey, armament hockey are used by Lin An to ultimate at this moment. Only then did he reach the level where he could fight Kizaru. Clang. Whether it's Lin An or Kizaru, the weapons used by the two are all light and have no entity. However, the collision of the two swords produced the feeling of metal collision. For a while, you picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up a power. Close black lens bracket. You picked up 1 point of agility. Close black lens bracket. Lin An and Kizaru were fast. The location of the battle ranged from the easternmost point of the island to the westernmost point in an instant. After another few hundred moves, people are back to where they started. Lin An felt more and more strength in his body, and a happy expression appeared on his face. In this regard, Kizaru said he could not understand. It was obviously a vicious battle, even a life and death battle. Could it be that Lin An already has the power to kill herself? For a while, Kizaru was full of doubts and asked, "Why are you so happy?" "Of course I can fight against a master like you, so I'm happy." Lin An echoed Kizaru's words. His current strength is increasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the more than 3 years since I came to this world. Except for the last battle with Jack, this time can be said to be the fastest battle to improve his strength. And combat is also a lot more interesting. Last time, Lin An hid a lot of strength because he was afraid that Jack would not be able to bear his own injury. This time is different. Before the war, Lin An was weaker than Kizaru. You picked up a speed. Close black lens bracket. You picked up an armament hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up a power. Close black lens bracket. But, during the fight with Kizaru, this small gap is gradually being equalized. You picked up a piece of physical strength. Close black lens bracket. Oh who. Hearing the voice of the system, Lin An's mouth even showed a smile. He was never afraid of being wheeled or fought for a long time. That's not to say that Lin An's physical strength is good enough to ignore wheel battles and long fights. It is because the attribute of physical strength can also be seen in the system. It is this kind of attribute that supports Lin An even though it has no effect on improving strength, but it is overwhelming in battle. Blink. Lin An stepped back quickly. The whole body directly turned into a golden light. For a moment, sparkling fruit was inspired to ultimate by him. The whole body vaguely turned into a golden sun. Big bang. As Lin An read out the names of the tricks, a laser beam with a diameter of 3 meters shot out from Lin An's body. Head straight to Kizaru, using the ability of sparkling fruit in this way. Watching Lin An's tricks, Kizaru felt incredible. To this extent, he can also do it. But it takes a lot of energy. It is almost impossible to hit someone with this kind of trick. Coupled with the extremely strong penetrating power of the laser, it does not require too much effort to achieve effective lethality. That's why he didn't have much development in this high-intensity trick. But, now you meet your opponent. Feel the energy of Lin An's sparkling fruit. Kizaru's body also began to condense extremely strong light. For a while, it was as if 3 suns had appeared in the sky. Twinkle, explode. Kizaru's name was called out. Although the names are different, the principle of the tricks between the two is the same. It is to compress the sparkling fruit's laser in the body, and then spew out as much as possible. Boom. As 2 super powerful laser beams collided together. A huge explosion directly set off smoke and dust. You picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up an armament hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up a power. Close black lens bracket. At this time, Lin An, who picked up the property again, nodded in satisfaction. The attributes generated by this high-intensity big move collision are more abundant. At this point, 5 hours had passed since Lin An and Kizaru started fighting. After 5 hours of rapid growth, Lin An's current strength has reached the level of Kizaru. Although the battle between Lin An and Kizaru is not over yet. Even saying who is good and who is bad cannot make any effective judgment. But Lin An has already won. And the kind that wins wins. Come again. Look at Kizaru. Lin An shouted boldly. As if relieving the blood in the heart. Fight for 5 hours. It's the high-spirited age of 20-somethings again. Lin An's actions didn't make anyone notice anything wrong. Come again. Kizaru was also beaten out of his temper at this time. Hands crossed. Another Tiankongan sword was gathered by him. This time, both speed and quality have been qualitatively improved. See here. Lin An also learns from others. Hands together. Amazon Cloud Sword. For a while, the two transformed into a long sword again, and it was completely condensed, and even had a solid shape. Only, this also shows that the two have different understandings of swords. The sword that Kizaru conjures resembles a Western two-handed broadsword. It's just because of Kizaru's 3-meter height that it doesn't look wrong to hold this two-handed sword in one hand. The shape of an eagle is also engraved on it. As for Lin An here, it is an illusion of a Han sword in memory, the highest specification Bafang Han sword. The energy of Lin An's sparkling fruit was compressed to ultimate, and even the dragon pattern at the end of the hilt and the silk pattern on the sword body were clearly visible. Drink. Ha. The two stepped forward again. The space of hundreds of meters has been crossed in the blink of an eye, and it persisted to the middle again. You picked up a piece of physical strength. Close black lens bracket. You picked up an armament hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. Boy, you are the most promising young man I have seen in the past 20 years. Chapter 45 Fighting All Day, Kizaru escapes. Advertise here. Chapter 45 Fighting All Day, Kizaru flees. Kizaru can be said to have read countless people. In the past 20 years, he has seen many people rise. This even includes witnessing Shanks emerge from the influence of One Piece Gall D. Roger to become the Four Emperors alone. But even so, Kizaru still awarded this title to Lin An. The use of the word most in evaluations is inherently offensive. There are countless supernovae in a 20-year period. Either fall, or become the overlord of New World. Many of them have appeared astonishing, even comparable to the existence of 4 emperors. However, even so, Kizaru still rated Lin An as having the most potential. As this Admiral's compliment, should I just accept it with an open mind? You picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up an armament hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up a power. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Close black lens bracket. The battle between the two sides has lasted for a full 17 hours. It was already dark in the originally bright day. During these 17 hours, Kizaru is already close to the limit. Although Lin An has the physical strength attribute that is occasionally seen as a supplement. But it's already a little bit exhausted. But the rewards are equally huge. At this time, Lin An has faintly stronger strength than Kizaru. Are you a devil? Ding ding dang dang. The long swords in the hands of the two clashed more intensely at this moment. At this time, the long swords in the hands of both sides were curled because of countless collisions. Correct. Even a sword that is completely condensed by light has already rolled its blade at this time. Is your physical strength unlimited? Unlimited. How is that possible? Lin An directly shook his head in denial. If there is no stamina, that occasionally drops. He had long been unable to fight and chose to run away. But the result of such reckless struggle is also very clear. That is, his strength has been greatly improved. The overall strength has gone from being absolutely weaker than Kizaru to slightly surpassing Kizaru. The proficiency of sparkling fruit is the same as that of shock fruit, reaching the highest level of familiarity outside of awakening at this time. Armament hockey has raised a level again, and the armed color winding can even build a weapon or other items similar to the creation of sparkling fruit. Observation hockey also got the future foretelling, similar to Big Mom Pirates categories. It is already able to reach the prediction of 1 second. Now Lin An can know what move Kizaru is going to make 1 second before he makes a move. As for other common attributes, similar to strength, agility, flexibility, etc., there has been a qualitative leap. It can be said, except that Conqueror's hockey doesn't improve because Kizaru can't. Lin An got the highest level directly in the battle with Kizaru. It is no exaggeration to say that Kizaru is by far the brightest guiding light on Lin An's growth path. Looking at Kizaru's unbelievable admiration, Lin An slowly pumped the sparkling fruit energy in his body. Gradually complete the restoration of the Bafang Han sword in his hand. Slowly said, I'll just take it as you are praising me. You are welcome. Seeing Lin An's appearance, Kizaru also gradually repaired the two-handed broadsword in his hand. This is to praise you. The voices of the two fell. The two swords collided again. Dang. There was a sound of metal clashing. Then, two lights similar to fireworks spread out. That is the diffusion effect of the sparkling fruit energy of the swords in Lin An and Kizaru's hands during the collision. This battle, it was another 3 hours. You picked up an armament hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. You have picked up an observation hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. You have picked up an agility. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Close black lens bracket. Who? At this point, the two sides have been fighting fiercely for 20 hours. The sky turned white again. Kizaru gasped, looking at Lin An in disbelief. You bastard. Sharp. Who? Lin An also panted and looked at Kizaru. In theory, Lin An already has the strength to defeat Kizaru. But the physical exertion on both sides was really too great. This is not too much strength, and there is no way to reverse the situation of the battle. Nowadays, even with the attribute recovery off physical strength, Lin An couldn't stand it anymore. But, he believed it too. If it continues like this, it must be that Kizaru couldn't stand it first. You're not bad either. While speaking, Lin An wanted to continue to attack. However, the Bafang Han sword in his hand disappeared in the next second. The huge physical exertion has made him unable to use the ability of sparkling fruit anymore. Same. Although Kizaru on the opposite side persisted for a few seconds again. The two-handed broadsword in his hand also gradually disappeared at this time. Very good. For this result, Lin An is satisfied. What stands out in this battle is fairness. Do you want to come again? Of course. Kizaru nodded affirmatively. His hands have been completely dyed black and purple, and there are faint swirls on them. That's armament hockey winding. Kizaru does rely more on fruit abilities in actual combat. But that doesn't mean his hockey is not enough. If you want to fight, then fight. Lin An's eyes also burst out with endless fighting intent. The same is used for armament hockey winding. The two rushed directly at each other. Bang. The sound of fist clashing sounded. The battle begins here. You picked up an armament hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. You have picked up an observation hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. You picked up a power. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Close black lens bracket. Another 4 hours passed. Lin An and Kizaru fought for 24 hours. Even if you don't need to be equal, you have already fought for a day and a night. The sky was completely bright at this time. Lin An and Kizaru on both sides of the battle have already lost their physical strength. It was a bit laborious for both sides just to stand. Do not fight. Looking at Lin An, Kizaru took off his clothes and gently tossed them aside. Suddenly, a rainbow appeared in the sky. It was the optical phenomenon after the sweat in Kizaru's clothes spread out and was exposed to sunlight. Finished. Kizaru turned and left. Sentomaru responded directly and escorted Kizaru away. The surrounding marines glanced in Rayleigh's direction. It is also tactful to retreat directly. If Kizaru is there, he may not be able to beat Rayleigh. Not to mention that Kizaru is now physically exhausted and there is no way to contain Rayleigh anymore. Kizaru. Seeing Kizaru stop, Lin An shouted again, I look forward to fighting with you next time. Chapter 46 Rayleigh's approval, Ace caught. Advertise here. Chapter 46 Rayleigh's approval, Ace caught. Listen to what Lin An said. The corner of Kizaru's mouth twitched. Without any response, he let the marines take him away. Oh shit. After Kizaru and the marines left completely, Lin An sat directly on the ground. Fortunately, he couldn't stand it first. If the fight continues, it's me who should run away. One sat on the ground. A huge sense of fatigue swept over his body instantly. Lin An lay on the ground without any image. So far, Sabayati Archipelago can be regarded as a perfect ending. Rayleigh slowly walked to Lin An from the side. Pass Lin An a bottle of water. You're welcome. Lin An opened it and drank it. He drank the whole bottle of water directly. This can be regarded as restoring some physical strength for him. Because of the exhausting battle, Lin An was recovering his strength. Indistinctly, his strength has been slightly improved again. Not much though, but at his level, every improvement in strength is enough to make people excited. Sharp. Young people are terrifying. Rayleigh looked at Lin An in front of him and gave a heartfelt admiration. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, it would be hard for me to believe that a young guy in his 20s could beat that old fox like Kizaru. Take a break. Plus water replenishment. Although Lin An said that he has not yet reached the level where he can fight again, but his normal actions are no longer a problem. Stand up slowly. Lin An looked at Rayleigh and shook his head slightly. Just kidding. Even without me, Kizaru can't do anything with you, senpai. Different. Listening to Lin An's words, Rayleigh smiled. He became more and more satisfied with the boy in front of him. Strong, humble and polite. Such a person, no matter where he is placed, will be a glowing existence. I am indeed stronger than Kizaru. However, I am now nearly 80 years old. Energy and stamina decline year after year. Kizaru just needs to take some time to drain some of my stamina. Not to mention that he fought with you for a day and a night, for about 3 hours, I will also show a defeat. Senior joked. Lin An pondered Rayleigh's words in his mind for a while. Rayleigh was definitely hiding something when he said that. However, the outcome between him and Kizaru should be the same. Senior is the vice captain of One Piece, how could an admiral win? Don't frame me, a junior. Ha 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 ha. Listening to Lin An's words, Kizaru laughed out loud. Lin An's remarks sounded polite. But it also showed the appearance of rejecting people thousands of miles away. Seemingly polite. In fact, it's just a rhetoric that I don't want to offend. You little guy is impeccable in doing things. Me and that old guy Whitebeard are kind of old friends. Speaking of which, Rayleigh paused for a moment, looking at Lin An in front of him and thinking about it. Seniors, listen to your identity. In terms of age, it's not too much for you to call me grandpa. However, according to the old guy in Whitebeard who treats the crew members of his crew like his sons, I will obviously take advantage of Whitebeard by doing so. Just call me Uncle Rayleigh. Okay, Uncle Rayleigh. Lin An responded directly. Rayleigh nodded. Your current situation is exhausted, and you need to rest for a while to recover your body. Just go back to my tavern with me for a couple of days. Listening to Rayleigh's words, Lin An hesitated. His idea was to go back to the 4th Squadron's boat to rest. However, from the way Rayleigh looked, it was clear that there was something he wanted to talk to him about. After several considerations, Lin An nodded. Okay, then I will bother Uncle Rayleigh. The two didn't walk very fast along the way. Sabayati Archipelago has completely become a sky island after the Straw Hat Pirates beat the Celestial Dragons, and the Admiral of Headquarters went to catch people. The indigenous people of the Sabayati Archipelago retreated to their houses. Those pirates were either caught or just ran away. The Marines also temporarily chose to withdraw from the Sabayati Archipelago because of Kizaru's defeat and Rayleigh's influence on the island. At this time, only Lin An and Rayleigh dared to walk on the streets on the entire island. It is worth mentioning that, because Lin An's appearance stopped Kizaru, Shang didn't help. The Straw Hat Pirates have now been arranged by Rayleigh in the tavern. As for other supernovae, either take advantage of the chaos and go directly to New World, or go back to heal your wounds. It is worth mentioning that these supernovae are obviously the focus of Kizaru's attention during this mission. With the appearance of Lin An, none of them were arrested because of Kizaru. Yo, Lin An just entered the tavern. Lin An saw the Straw Hat crew who was already full. Luffy rubbed her belly with one hand and greeted Lin An with the other. Thanks, without you we would have died at the hands of Kizaru. Lin An, you are so handsome, hard steel admiral. Quote. The rest of the Straw Hat Pirates also greeted Lin An excitedly or gratefully. Everyone is fine. After greeting Luffy and others briefly, Lin An looked in Rayleigh's direction. He asked straight to the point. Uncle Rayleigh. Pull me into the tavern, shouldn't it be just to give me a place where I can rest safely? I don't believe you will not know based on your information. I came out with the entire 4th team. Certainly. Rayleigh nodded as he stepped into the counter. He stretched out his hand to search in a hidden compartment behind him. Finally, I turned out a piece of paper that was folded in half. Send the paper to Lin An through the cabinet at the counter. You should be very interested in this news. News that interests me. Lin An frowned. He lives very simply in this world. There are only 2 things that interest Lin An. Whitebeard Pirates and become stronger. It is necessary to survive and become stronger in this world. And the Whitebeard Pirates, because they provided a platform for protection and growth when Lin An was weak. With doubts, Lin An opened the folded paper. After seeing the contents inside, Lin An looked at Rayleigh. This is real. Rayleigh nodded. What is written on the paper is Ace's information. And it is from the time when Ace left the Whitebeard Pirates, until Ace was captured by Blackbeard and went to Marine to claim the complete record. The world government is using Ace to lure Whitebeard out of the New World. If no one comes to save him, Ace should die. Lin An agreed. Luffy on the side showed nervousness. Ace is going to die. Chapter 47 Kizaru's defeat, Marine's reaction. Advertise here. Chapter 47 Kizaru's defeat, Marine's reaction. Naval Headquarters meeting room. That's the way it is. Kizaru slumped on the chair. In order for the news to be conveyed as quickly as possible, Kizaru just took a break from Sabayati Archipelago to Naval Headquarters, and then used sparkling fruit to make his way to Marineford. He was so exhausted that he couldn't even sit still. How can it be? I heard that Kizaru lost. The first to respond was Akainu. He looked at Kizaru deeply, trying to see what Kizaru was hiding, but unfortunately he didn't. Although Kizaru said that he is usually idle, his strength has been recognized by almost everyone, including Akainu himself. However, with such strength, Kizaru even fought with the vice captain of the Whitebeard pirate group for a day and a night, and finally even had to withdraw all the Marines in the Sabayati archipelago. It's just unbelievable. Nothing is impossible. Kizaru's eyes are no longer lazy as before. The whole person is very serious. It's not true to say that I can't beat Lin An. Although his strength is strong, he is still not my opponent. But the crux of the matter is that Rayleigh was there. Although that old guy Rayleigh is very calm, if he can kill Marine Admiral, he will definitely not be soft. If I really go all out to deal with Lin An, even if I can beat Lin An, I'm afraid I will be killed by Rayleigh. Kizaru is at his most serious right now. He did have some whole cards that he didn't use. That was the card against Rayleigh, the card that made sure he survived. But then Lin An is indeed amazing. If it's just an ordinary method, I can only draw with him. Even, I might lose. Listen to Kizaru. The others present also nodded. This explanation also makes sense. I only heard that this Lin An is someone who was brought up by Whitebeard. Although he is the heir appointed by Whitebeard, he is only in his 20s. Can he really be this strong? Sengoku frowned listening to Kizaru's words. Looking aside. Information Department, immediately transfer all information about Lin An. I want to study him word for word. Yes. Listening to Sengoku's words, the people from the Information Department immediately began to mobilize Lin An's information. Soon, all information on Lin An was mobilized. Lin An, a resident of Fire Dragon Island in New World, lived alone on Fire Dragon Island before boarding the Whitebeard Pirates ship. It was only integrated into the human settlement of Fire Dragon Island about 3.5 years ago. A year and a half ago, he boarded the ship of the Whitebeard Pirates and was assigned to the 4th team by Whitebeard. Because of his strength, ability, and personality, he became the captain of the 4th team in less than a month. After several naval battles, he became the captain of the Whitebeard Pirates 3 months later. Half-year later, because of his outstanding performance, he was exceptionally promoted to the vice-captain of the 4th team and was cared and trained by Whitebeard. 2 months ago, because Teach's rebellion against Whitebeard caused New World speculation about the Whitebeard Pirates, Kaido, one of the 4 emperors, sent Jack, one of the 3 billboards, to Whitebeard Pirates to make trouble. Lin An asked for a fight Jack and capture Jack alive. In order to reward Lin An, Whitebeard arranged a 1-month individual guidance for Lin An and gave Lin An the title of Whitebeard Pirates Instructor. Half a month ago, because Ace hadn't returned for a long time, Lin An was sent by Whitebeard to look for Ace. Character abilities. Conqueror's Haki, very high-level armament Haki, very high-level observation Haki, possesses a devil fruit similar to Whitebeard Shock Fruit, and through the Devil Fruit illustrated book, there is a high probability that it is a trembling fruit that does not appear. Character evaluation. Lin An has an extremely easygoing personality, and he always trains with the following crew members on weekdays, so he has a very high evaluation in the Whitebeard Pirates, and it is for this reason that although Lin An only joined the Whitebeard Pirates in a year and a half, he obtained the same level of authority as the captain of the team and was not envied by others. Key point. It is now certain that Lin An is Whitebeard's successor. Listen to the intelligence. Sengoku fell silent. This guy is indeed a talent. If we found them and let him join Marine, I will also train him in the position of Marine Marshal. Sengoku didn't care a bit about the next most likely to take over as Marshal Marine. Aokiji, Akainu and Kizaru are now the pillars of Marine. Lin An's talent and potential can be seen by anyone. Not to mention, he is also a person with a very good personality who can spend his time mediating the relationship between himself and the people around him. Such a person, no one can envy. Oh, what a pity. Having said that, Sengoku shook his head. It's useless to say anything now. It is impossible for such a talent to belong to their Marine. But, this information can only be said to let us know about Lin An. It has no effect on our subsequent development. At this time, Kizaru spoke again. What puzzles me the most is that Lin An still owns sparkling fruit. What? Listening to Kizaru's words, Sengoku was stunned. Because this is already completely against the rules of the world. Sengoku looked at Kizaru and asked again, are you sure it's sparkling fruit? Instead of a similar fruit, or the lower fruit of the sparkling fruit? I am sure. Sparkling fruit is a good partner who has followed me for most of my life, how could I admit my mistake? That boy's devil fruit is definitely a sparkling fruit. Kizaru nodded. I also asked Zon Taowen to verify it when I came back. This matter has nothing to do with Dr. Vegapunk. As for whether it has anything to do with Dr. Vegapunk's research results, it's not clear. Is that so? Listen to Kizaru. Sengoku gradually calmed down his inner mood. 2 identical devil fruits. And it's not all. According to intelligence, in addition to the sparkling fruit, Lin An also has a devil fruit. That means Lin An has 2 devil fruits. This is completely against the laws of the world. He muttered silently. The chaos in Sengoku's eyes gradually became clear. At this time, he also had a new plan again. This guy is likely to destroy our preparations this time. After discussing for a period of time again, the Marine executives understood what they should do next under the arrangement of Sengoku. A quick message from Marine. Chapter 48 The Summit War begins, and the situation is throbbing. Advertise here. Chapter 48 The Summit War begins, and the situation is throbbing. As the Ace incident was thoroughly known to the whole world. The whole world was shocked. New World has always been controlled by pirates, the most powerful of which is the 4 emperors. It's not that Marine doesn't have branches in New World, but it's a pity that it's ridiculous to compare it with the power of 4 emperors. Catching Ace by accident this time can be regarded as finding an extremely good reason for Marine. Also the way to call Whitebeard from the 4 emperors out of New World and have to go head-to-head with Marine. For this war, Sengoku started to mobilize the world a month ago, even at the cost of weakening the Marine divisions around the world. Transfer all Marine elites to Naval Headquarters Marineford as much as possible, and give these elites high-intensity training to hone their coordination. Now, the time is completely ripe. The running in of the Marine elite is over. Sengoku even forcibly mobilizes the Shichibukai to join the battle in order to have greater certainty. Express. After the Shichibukai meeting. Under Sengoku's tough attitude, Shichibukai chose to join the war whether he wanted to or not. In this case Sengoku issued the command. That's a week later in Marineford Square, Ace's execution. What? Is Marine crazy? To push Whitebeard to this extent? The blood of One Piece is still alive. In order to make this action seem just. Sengoku spread the word that Ace is Gall D. Rogers' son. It seems that the situation in the world is about to change completely. This is forcing Whitebeard to fight Marine. For a while. The whole world was thrown into a huge discussion because of Marine's decision. Naval Headquarters. Office of Marshal Marine. Looking at Garp, who lost his previous vitality and completely fell into silence, Sengoku felt a little bit sorry for this old friend. Garp is the marine hero who defeated the Rocks Man. Counting the adopted grandchildren under the knee, there are a total of 3 people. The son became the leader of the Revolutionary Army, the #1 enemy of the world government so far. The 2 grandchildren, Ace, are the sons of Gall D. Roger. It would be fine if it was just like this. If he can join Marine, it will even be a very good publicity effect. Not only will Ace not die, but he can even become the object of Marine's protection. Unfortunately, things backfired. Ace did not go the way Garp left him, and even joined the Whitebeard Pirates. His grandson, Luffy, is also a troublemaker. Inheritance clamored to become the One Piece, and even made huge news about beating up celestial dragons. Garp, if you don't want to, you don't have to participate in this operation. Garp looked at Sengoku. The world's top powerhouse showed a touch of weakness at this moment. Sengoku, you said that if I didn't get obsessed with Marine's affairs and spent more time managing them too, wouldn't it be okay? What's the current situation? This. Sengoku couldn't answer for a while. If Garp can keep Ace and Luffy under control, it really won't be like this. But, he does not believe in this nihilistic regretism. Moreover, it is useless to regret now. Why? Sengoku sighed. This time things have to be done. In order for Marine to fully enter the new world, changes must be made to the order of the new world. One of the 4 emperors must die. Whitebeard, old and dusty to the brow, is the way to go. Ace, I must die. Only in this way can Whitebeard come out of the new world. Only by killing Whitebeard, Marine's influence will continue to expand, even up to the beginning of the establishment of the world government. As a Marine, you also know how many innocent lives could be saved by such an outcome. A pirate is a pirate after all. I don't deny that there are good people among them, but most of them are villains who robbed houses and killed innocent people. How could I not know this? Garp stood up and walked towards the door. When he was about to leave, he stopped in place. At this moment, Garp didn't look back. But his voice reached Sengoku's ears. I will participate in this operation. I'm a Marine hero. My appearance will boost Marine morale, won't it? Talking. Garp goes out. Boom. There was a muffled sound. The door to Marshal Marine's office is closed. You old guy, this is the first time you will take the initiative to close the door for me. Watching the direction Garp left, Sengoku laughed. This smile gradually faded over time. There was also a disappointed expression on his face. Thank you, old man. It's hard for you. New world. Moby Dick aboard. How come? Marine is provocative. For a time, the crowd was excited. Everyone on the Whitebeard Pirates went crazy. It doesn't matter if Ace is caught, as long as he doesn't kill him, then the Whitebeard Pirates don't dare to do anything. They even announced Ace's identity and executed him. This is utter provocation. And it's forcing Whitebeard to go head to head with Marine. Dad, you must give Marine some color. If we endure this matter, what do the other pirates think of us? Abandon our companions' trash. Be a coward's egg. Ace is our good partner, good captain. Whitebeard glanced at the others on the Moby Dick. There are people from the Whitebeard Pirates, people from the 43 pirates who followed Whitebeard, and people from the islands and countries sheltered by Whitebeard. He didn't expect that the thing he threatened Kaido before would fall on him so quickly. It's really an impermanent world. Everyone obey orders. Ace was to be saved, and Whitebeard didn't hesitate. Move all the elite to Naval Headquarters Marineford at once. Since he Sengoku wants to play with me, then how can I avoid fighting? Having said that, Whitebeard slowly stood up. Eyes looked towards the direction of Marineford. The Golden Lion destroyed half of Marineford by himself. I want to see how this Marineford can stop my Whitebeard's anger. Quickly, under Whitebeard's arrangement, other people left one after another, and they were going to mobilize all the elites under their banner. Father. Margot moved closer to Whitebeard now. Lin An, he hasn't come back yet. No problem. Whitebeard shook his head. Time is running out to wait for his return from the Grand Line. This time the incident is so big, he will arrive in Marineford in the shortest time after seeing the news. Chapter 49 The next goal, Impel Down Rescue. Advertise here. Chapter 49 The next goal, Impel Down Rescue. So that's how it is. On the other side, Rayleigh and Charlie's tavern. Lin An looked at Rayleigh and nodded, with a thoughtful expression on his face. Rayleigh saw this expression, and there was surprise in his eyes. It seems that you are not very worried about Ace. No. Lin An shook his head in denial. I'm very worried about Ace. You know the situation on Dad's boat. Ace is the only one who is about my age and can play together. It's no exaggeration to say that Ace is my best friend in the world. At this time, Lin An thought of all the things on the Whitebeard Pirates. Put aside Whitebeard, the patriarch who treats the crew like family. The best ones for me are Sage and Ace, captains of the 4th team. It is because of the similar age that the two have endless words to talk about. Having said that, Lin An paused for a moment, and met Rayleigh's eyes directly. However, the more this is the case, the more you have to calm yourself down, don't you? That's true. Rayleigh was slightly overwhelmed by Lin An's serious eyes, and directly avoided Lin An's eyes. Temporarily avoided the question. According to my information, Marine is fully prepared this time. He started to deploy troops to the world more than a month ago. Obviously, he feels that he has reached the situation where he can enter the new world. It's no longer a simple matter of Marine trying to use Ace to make some money from Whitebeard. Ace and the old guy Whitebeard are in a very dangerous situation, even life-threatening. Lin An nodded. This time there was not much response. The mind is to start thinking about this matter. This is the fateful collision of Marine and Whitebeard pirates. If it can be avoided, Lin An naturally does not want Whitebeard and Marine to fight to the death. However, this is no longer something that Lin An can decide. Then, think about what you can get from it. A full-scale confrontation naturally represents the best of both sides' masters. The first 4 emperors of the Whitebeard Pirates, counting his 2 emperor lieutenants and 1/2 step 4 emperors, there are countless masters in the middle and lower levels. There are 3 admirals on the Marine side, countless vice admirals, rear admirals, and the elite Marines recruited from all over the world. I can gain so much improvement just by fighting an admiral. If such a lineup fights, Lin An cannot pick up all the dropped attributes even because of the 1-minute limit. However, climbing to the top of the world, the level of 4 emperors is not a problem at all. If you want to stop this war, then you should find a way from the source. Pausing for a moment, Lin An thought for a while. It's about taking away the conditions that made Dad have to come out of New World. So, Rayleigh looked at Lin An with a thoughtful expression in his eyes. Are you planning to go to Impel Down to break the prison? Yeah, Lin An nodded. The idea really works. Rayleigh thought for a moment, frowning slightly. However, I don't know if the time will be enough. There is only 1 week left before Ace's execution, which is the decisive battle between Marine and Whitebeard. Because Ace needs to be pulled to Marineford in advance, the time for Ace to stay in Impel Down is probably only 5 days at most. It takes 3 days to go from Sabayati Archipelago to Impel Down. Impel Down has a total of 6 floors, and even I don't know what structure is inside. Even if you only need to rescue Ace and then notify Whitebeard with a phone bug, I don't think you can do it if you only have 2 days to search and you have to deal with the entire Impel Down force. Is there a way to save Ace? At this time, Luffy, who had been anxious all the time, couldn't get in the line of Lin An and Rayleigh's words. His eyes lit up. I also need to go. Impossible. Rayleigh outright dismisses Luffy's proposal. You can't even hold Kizaru's kick. In Impel Down, there is a Warden Magellan who is not inferior to Admiral at all, and even scarier than Admiral to a certain extent. What are you going to rescue? Listening to Rayleigh's words, Luffy fell silent. But that determined look said everything. Even if it is death, he still wants to save Ace. Why? At this, Rayleigh shook his head. Alright, then you can go with me. There are only 2 people in Impel Down who are really worth noting, one is the Warden Magellan, and the other is the Warden Shiryu. That fellow Shiryu of the Rain was imprisoned again for being too cruel. The Impel Down goes 6 layers deep under the sea, and no one knows how difficult the path will be. If you go, the characteristics of rubber fruit should help Lin An pass some inconvenient places. Hear Rayleigh say that. Luffy's eyes lit up, and he nodded frantically. Don't worry, I won't cause trouble for brother Lin An. Receiving Luffy's assurance, Rayleigh also smiled. He didn't really expect Luffy to help Lin An, but he was afraid that he would go secretly without Luffy. At that time, it will attract the attention of Impel Down and cause trouble for Lin An. Reassuring Luffy, Rayleigh set his sights on Lin An again. Lin An. To be honest, I don't think your rescue operation will really play a big role. This. Lin An's eyes dodged. He also thought about this question. Still, there's always something to be done for the Whitebeard Pirates. Looking at Rayleigh, Lin An showed some thought in his eyes. Uncle Rayleigh, what do you mean? It seems that you have guessed it too. Lin An and Rayleigh's eyes met, and they laughed in unison. That's right, it's an Impel Down. The gates of the 3 worlds of Enies lobby, Impel Down and Marineford are interconnected. That is to say, even if you are still in Impel Down when the war starts, you can reach Marineford in a very short time. Among Impel Down, there is no shortage of masters. Let's not talk about the criminals on the 6th floor who give the world government a headache. Just talking about the prisoners on the 5th floor, all of them are supernova level or even stronger pirates and political prisoners. Let's not talk about these top experts. Even for the prisoners on the 1st to 4th floors, those who can enter Impel Down instead of being imprisoned in the local prison are rare masters. If you can't save Ace, what will happen if you lead such a group of strong men to Marineford? A week later, with Rayleigh running, Lin An and Luffy had already sneaked into the Impel Down. Whitebeard is leading the ship, 43 affiliated pirate groups and islands within the sphere of influence, the country's elite is ready. Chapter 50 The War Begins. Advertise here. Chapter 50 The War Begins, the trend of Marine. The war has begun. And it's the war between the 4 emperors and the naval headquarters. In order to deal with this war, Marine recruited elites from all Marine bases around the world. Likewise, Sengoku also reinforced and trapped the entire Marineford. Whitebeard Alliance large fleet detected at sea level. All personnel prepare for battle. As the battle report came out, Marineford, who was already prepared, moved again. Neat and silent, the murderous air rushed to the sky in an instant. For justice, all Marines shouted in unison. Not one flinched, not one hesitated in the eyes. Everyone is quietly waiting for the arrival of the Whitebeard Alliance fleet. They are looking forward to this war. They long for this war. They want to fight for justice and world peace. Giant clan, ready. Front. A dozen giants sit in Vice Admiral. Every direction, every square has a giant standing at the forefront. These giants are like mountains leading the Marines behind them. Their existence represents the confidence of the Marines, and their existence represents the determination of the Marines. They are like lighthouses shining on the ordinary Marines behind them. Are we ready? Always be ready for the enemy. Behind the giant Vice Admirals are the elite Marines recruited from all over the world this time. Plus the original Marineford Marines, a full 150,000. Each of them represents the glory of a Marine branch, and each of them represents the patron saint of an island or country. 150,000 people are in uniform. Under the shining blue and white Marine suit, it looks like a warrior who is going to conquer the world. They are the biggest confidence that Marine dared to challenge the Whitebeard Pirates this time. Marineford is huge, and if you look at the whole world, you can't find many islands that are comparable in size. But even such a huge island is fully occupied by Marines. For the glory of the Marine. Behind the 150,000 Marine elite stood a row of well-known Marine Vice Admirals, even famous all over the world. Doberman. Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral, one of the 5 Vice Admirals involved in the Buster Call program during the Isle of Justice incident. Ghost Spider. Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral, one of the 5 Vice Admirals involved in the Buster Call project in the Island of Justice incident. Stallo Berry. Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral, one of the 5 Vice Admirals involved in the Buster Call program in Judicial Island incident. Huo Shaoshan. Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral, 5 Vice Admirals who participated in the Exhibitor Order plan in the Judicial Island event. Flying Squirrel. Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral, one of the 5 Vice Admirals involved in the Buster Call project in the Isle of Justice incident. Bastu. Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral. Dalmesia. Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral. Stiras. Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral. There are dozens of elite Vice Admirals with names and surnames alone, and there are also many powerful Marine Vice Admirals that Marine has been hiding. If the dozen giants Vice Admiral was the vanguard, then these dozens of Marine elites Vice Admiral are the center of this Marine, responsible for the main force in the decisive battle with the Whitebeard Pirates high level. At this time, all the Vice Admirals stood in place and looked ahead, solemnly. The giant Vice Admiral is in the front, the 150,000 Marine elite is in the middle, and dozens of Marine elite Vice Admiral are behind. This is the forefront of the fight against the Whitebeard Pirates. In the rear, in the center of the entire Marineford is the execution platform, which was also specially built for Ace. In front of the execution platform, there are several figures. Dracul Mahawk, known as Hawkeye, Mahawk, the world's #1 swordsman, and the red-haired 4 emperors are best friends. Bartholomew Big Bear, known as the Tyrant Bear, the former king of the Solby Kingdom. Boa Hancock, known as the Pirate Queen, the king of the Amazon Lily Kingdom. Gecko Moria, once fought against Kaido of the Beasts in New World, forcing Kaido to fight himself. Don Quixote Doflamingo, nicknamed Heavenly Yaksha, the current king of Dressrosa, the king of underground transactions in the entire New World. This is the pirate Shichibukai, Marine Laozi. A pirate with legal authority, an existence that can make anyone frightened when they hear their name. Similarly, this is also an absolute defense to ensure that Ace's execution will not be disturbed by others. These people are here, even if the Whitebeard captains come, they may not be able to get benefits. Admiral, it's Admiral. At this time, 3 figures appeared one after another. Asking for flowers. It was quickly discovered. Akainu, Sakazuki in red suit trousers, marine cap and marine justice cape. Aokiji, Kuzan in white trousers, a white vest lined with a blue shirt, an eye patch, and a marine justice cape. Wearing yellow and orange striped suit trousers, orange sunglasses, and a marine justice cloak, Kizaru, Pelusolino. This. For a while, all the reporters went crazy. Seeing this lineup is completely crazy. 3 admirals, all 3 admirals dispatched. For a while, all the reporters wrote what they saw, and heard at a speed of more than 100 words per minute. 0. All kinds of information were sent out quickly from Marineford. More than that, at this time, a figure slowly appeared on the execution platform. Seeing this figure, all the reporters stopped writing. Even though they were far apart, they could still recognize who this person was only by virtue of his vague figure. Worked together with Garp the hero, to capture alive the legendary pirate Golden Lion, the Marine Marshal known as the resourceful General, Sengoku. This war, is it actually led by Marshal Sengoku? If the co-appearance of the 3 admirals just drove this group of reporters crazy. So now Sengoku appears and drives them completely crazy. The Marine elite mobilized from 150,000 worlds. A dozen giant vice admirals, dozens of Marine elite vice admirals. Marine's highest combat strength is 3 admirals. It's just not enough. This time the commander turned out to be Marshal Sengoku. This is not enough. At this time, the video phone bug set up by Marine gradually transmitted pictures one after another. On screen, hundreds of nautical miles around Naval Headquarters Marineford. There are more than 300 Marine warships on patrol. Crazy. Seeing this scene, a reporter was so frightened that his pen dropped to the ground. Dumbfounded, he muttered to himself, there is almost a warship in every sea mile. Take a close look at each other, and when a warship is attacked, other warships can receive the news immediately. With this kind of defense, can the Whitebeard Alliance big ship group really come in? How long?